Hey, what's up, chat? What's going on? How's it hanging? How's it cooling in the gang? Welcome to stream. Welcome to stream, everybody. I broke my VLC. I don't know how to fix it. I totally broke my VLC player, which is like, oh shit. Oh shit, how did I do that? Oh no. I was trying to get the local host so I could remote access the VLC for my Steam Deck, and instead I broke it. How do I get it back? Do I have to like re-download VLC? VLC is a media player. It tends to be the media player that I like to use the most. Let me see if I can do this. And if I can open this with VLC. Oh my God. Ah! That was so loud. Healthcare is not a right, Jovan, and you are a piece of shit. So anyway. Remote control. I have the remote control interface up. I want to get it back to the not remote control interface. Log out. Will log out work? No. Ayo, thanks for the gifted subs on Twitch. Legend ZA isn't worth the cost from the graphics. I don't care about graphics. Legend ZA to me isn't worth it because the game's a piece of shit. I don't give a fuck about the graphics. I actually think Legend ZA is the best, worst Pokemon game I've ever played. It's the best, worst Pokemon game. Oh, I have to turn my background light. Hold on, guys. I'm just trying to get VLC to work. What the fuck? Maybe I just uninstall it. Uninstall. Let's just uninstall VLC and reinstall it. That will probably fix my issues. I hope. Well, I uninstalled VLC, but it's still playing. And then let's reinstall VLC. English, next. And then we'll reinstall it. And let me get the call-in studio up so we can get call-ins today. The fuck was that? Did y'all hear that? What the fuck? Okay, let's see if this fixed it. Nope. Shit. Uh-oh. Did I break my VLC? Wait, what if I play a video? If I play a video, that should open up normal VLC. Okay. It opened up something, but I can't get to my preferences. Shit. Uh-oh. What did I do? Oh, shit. Whenever I try to open VLC now, it opens like a command box. How do I get it to not do that? How do I fix that? Type help. Stats info? No. Seek? No. I'm not rebooting my PC. Guess we just won't use VLC today. I try it later. But we just won't use VLC today. That'll be, I guess, the answer to that is I don't use VLC today. Crazy though. We'll just do media player, I guess. I think VLC is good for the I just think VLC is good for playlists. Because I need something to have. I'm gonna stop playing. I'm gonna just only play the music that I can on my stream, which is this type of background music, so that I don't get hit with like copyright infringement. Copyright infringements. Anyway, welcome to stream, everybody. I hope you're here. Hope you're having a good day. I'm having a good day. We're gonna open up the call lines as we move forward with our debates. Just gonna throw out what the topics are today. They are the topics they've been. MAGA is a fascist movement. Trump is a terrible president. ICE is anti-American. Now, I do want to preface the ICE is anti-American topic. When I say ICE is anti-American, I don't mean ICE is anti what America is. ICE is actually pretty in line with what America is. I mean, ICE is anti what America claims to be, which is land of the free, home of the brave. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I see. Jovan, have you tried making the stream horizontal? I bet that would work. No, I don't get as many calls if the stream goes horizontal. Oh my God, I need a new, like ASAP, I need a new mic, a new microphone thing. I need one ASAP. I didn't realize how broken this one is. Shit. Oh, because I'm missing a screw back here. That's why this has been like that. Okay, I need to go to Amazon and get a new mic arm. I'll just get the new one Elgato put out. What else was I saying? Why do you still support Trump is another one of our topics, as well as trans men and women are men and women. And then pro-choice, which I just feel like I don't debate as much anymore. So why not just get a new screw? Because I wanted a new one anyway. I need one that's a little bit longer, for reasons. You know? So I want to get one that's just a tad bit longer than the one I has now. Do you want to build your mom? No host connection. Please connect the host. Oh. Whoops.
You are connected as the host.
But
welcome, host.
Okay,
you are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
Thank you. God. Yeah, so the reason I do vertical on YouTube, so if you want to watch the horizontal, you come to Twitch. The reason I do vertical on YouTube is vertical pushes out to random people much more than horizontal does. As soon as YouTube puts out the feature where you can do both at the same time, which is a feature coming to YouTube, to like live YouTube lives, I'll do both. But right now the feature's not out yet. So I don't. But as soon as that feature comes, leftist tech issues are crazy, but true. What was I trying to do? Speaking of tech issues, so Wavelink is the audio system that I use, just completely reset itself today. And I have to go in and like add all my stuff, and right now, so the next time I have a guest on stream to debate with, it's going to be all sorts of fucked up. It's annoying. Jovan don't need your respect, George. What did George say? If Jovan did real work instead of talk, man such as myself would respect him. What is real work? I hear this all the time. What do you think real work is, George? Do I get a paycheck? Yes. Every month. Do I pay taxes with that paycheck? Yes. Currently still paying off taxes. Taxes are a bitch when you're self-employed. What is real work? That's what I want to know. I assume real work to be anything that you get paid for. So like, I don't know. Which is why they hate sex work too. True. I'm not a big fan of sex work as the industry side. I don't know how ethical like OF stuff is, but I know that like being able to work for yourself on it, I feel a bit more in line to say is a better model of like sex work stuff. But I definitely dislike like the corn industry. I think it's so fucking. It's also weird. Why is corn? I don't know why I'm censoring it, but just to be safe. Why is that like the one place where racism is like still like widely accepted? Like, bro, it's so weird. Bro pays for sex work. Why wouldn't I pay for, if I'm getting sex work, why wouldn't I pay for it? That's your stance on the whole American veteran stuff, because sometimes it seems like the American left seem to suddenly change into racist nationalists and start defending veterans as victims. I think a lot of veterans are victims. A lot of veterans, the government uses a lot of predatory practices to get people into the military when they're still fucking kids, dude. So yes, I do think a lot of veterans are victims of coercion. I mean, what do you do when you have a system that's built upon forcing you to pay for higher education and predicating it by constantly telling you need that higher education, and then saying, hey, but if you come help us invade foreign nations, we'll give you that education. So in a way, I agree some veterans are victims. Yeah. Do I keep hearing turn signals? I don't know. Is somebody turning? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have so many strong reservations. It's hard to clip. I'm trying to clip that Ibram video, and it's hard to do because most of the video is me just yelling at a racist. So it's like a faint think tink tink noise. Oh, I was trying to buy a fucking mic arm. I'm like, why is Amazon open on my other dude? My ADHD kicks in hard, bro. The new mic arm Pro is out, so I should probably try that one. I don't like the down. I was also thinking, and I don't know if anyone's ever tried this. I kind of want to get a boom mic that sits like up above my main monitor, but I've not used I've not tried that with, and I don't want to. Boom mics are a lot of money, so I don't want to. I don't want to pay for it all and then realize it doesn't actually work the way I want it to. So usually I just stick with Elgato arms because I know Elgato products really well. Hey guys, we're waiting for debate. So if you are a MAGA, I need to find someone I trust to give access to the YouTube to start polls for me, so I don't have to start polls myself. Are you MAGA? Yes or no? Here's a poll on YouTube to get you guys started. Visit the Elgato store. Mic arms. The Wave mic arm. I could do a desk. No, I would hate that. I would hate a desk one. I would hate a desktop one. Supports 3 kilograms, 9 million, up, down. Mic arm, low profile. Wave mic arm. This is the one I want. Wave mic arm. Studio grade boom arm for microphones. Horizontal reach. And detachable riser for additional height. I wonder if that would help if I had additional height so it was coming down a bit more. Either way, we're going to grab this one and just hope that it does. Yeah, it's only like 99 bucks. That's good for me. Is this the one I wanted? Yeah, because it's got the riser. Yeah. This is their newest one. Because this one also can do low profile. Right? Isn't this the one that I wanted? Because can't this one do low profile as well? No, it can't. How could it? Wait, what? Well, now I'm confuzzled. Oh, I have to open Discord so I can keep in contact with the people. What mic arm do I want? Man, this is a real shit in the pants, you know? Wave mic arm pro, that's what I want. I want the Wave mic arm pro. That's what I want. Chat. Oh shit, that's the one I want. The Wave mic arm pro. Pretty sure that's the one I want. It still seems small, but I'll figure it out. 179? I mean, I fucking guess, but goddamn, bro. 179 is crazy. Base rotation is nice. 360 elbow is nice. I wish this had just one more turn here, like a third, like this. It would really like seal the motherfucking deal. I don't know what to get. I mean, this looks pretty good. This has 3, but it's 3 that goes up, not to the side. I want it to be low profile because I like it coming from down. Well, yeah, it's just if I'm staying in the Elgato ecosystem that it's. Oh, wait, I like this newer one. So this one goes down, over, and then up, and then it comes down like that. And I can put the mic like this. I think this might be the one I try. I don't know. There's some possible web caller issues today. Jess, do you think I should reset the call-in studio and see if that might help? I mean, I could get this. What's the worst that happens? I don't like it. Let's just send it back. This is such a hard decision. All right, we're gonna reset call in studio. Hopefully that will help the issues that we're having today with getting calls. Remember to call in. I mean, if you're in here and you're MAGA, 5% of you are here and aren't you're MAGA, and 5% of people are not calling in. That just tells me you're punks. I'm gonna end the show real quick though and restart it. Goo 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 gaga. Aichiwawa.
You are connected as the host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
How do MAGAs find you? I have a few I'd love for you to talk to. Typically they see the stream. And that's how that usually goes. Is they see the stream. Remember, if you do send a super chat, I will read all super chats at the end of show. So if you see super chat and you want to say something, say something, at the end of the show, I will read all those out. I don't know what fucking mic arm to get, dude. What's the difference of this, of the why, like, what is the difference of the Elgato Pro? 360 rotatable low profile gas microphone. Oh, you can adjust without messing with screws? Fuck it. Let's just get it. Fuck it! And if you can't fuck it, check it. Jovan, do you have a guy who's been, I'm straight, but if they flirted, I might milk like a girl? Huh? Your debate with your brother is still one of the best. That shit is wild. I still can't believe that. Fuck it, I just got it. Okay, there we go. Call is working now. Going to test web call next. Yeah, if the regular call is working, web call will be working. You know? Democrats will never gain power again. Okay, fascist. You're so happy to have a government that's one party. Fucking weirdo. That crash show with the racist dude the other day was crazy. Yeah, I know, right? And the fact that the next video I posted was another fucking crash out by another fucking low-key crazy. You playing anything good at the moment? Right now I'm just playing Pokemon ZA. Actually, so slight tease. Me and Arden are starting a gaming channel thing. And one of the first videos we're gonna do is a little mini podcast on our thoughts on Pokemon ZA. But me and Arden are gonna start a combined effort. Me and her are gonna play games. We'll have guests play games with us. It's gonna be great. I'm really excited. I'm gonna do another poll. Do you think MAGA? Honestly, I might give Pillow access to start polls on YouTube. Do you think MAGA are chickens? Yes or no? Do you think MAGA are chicken shits? You tell me. That was. Fascism is when you use pronouns. So fucking true, dude. The ones here are true, Aki. Oh, shit. What is blue one on? I have a lot of problems with Pokemon ZA, and I don't want to spoil the first episode of me and Arden's thing, but I have a lot of fucking problems with ZA, while simultaneously also thinking it's the best Pokemon game I've ever played. So my feelings towards ZA are complicated as shit. I just don't want... The thing is, I wish YouTube gave me the ability to do it without letting anybody see my analytics and stuff. I just feel weird about that. Spoken like a true Pokemon fan. Yo, you know what's crazy though? I don't think I'm that much of a Pokemon fan because Arden was telling me some mechanics of the game. They were like, yeah, and I looked to get these things, and I was like, wait, since when did they add that to Pokemon? She's like, since Gen 4. I was like, what? I play Pokemon so differently, I think, than most people. I play it so differently than most people. Because everybody's like, I need to get perfect stats and IVs and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I just level my Pokemon up to level 100 and then wipe. I have one Pokemon in my team that's 20 levels ahead of every other Pokemon that I fight, and I have no issues. I don't give a shit about any of that other nonsense. Anyway, MAGA, why are you scared today? What did you do? What did I do to scare you so hard, MAGA? Why are you so scared, dude? Chicken shit? MAGA? Chicken shit? Huh? I want to get a voice changer on my thing too. That could be fun. Actually, no calls. Yeah, everybody's too afraid. They're afraid of their ideas being challenged, homie. Your rage bait is cringe. If you think this is rage bait, I have something to tell you. You might be stupid. When do your streams actually start? I've been starting them at 11. I used to start them all at 10, but I've been giving myself an extra hour of sleep. So I've been starting them at 11. It's been working. Nate, nobody gives a fuck. My channel is doing just fine. Please take the nonsense somewhere else, fucking pussy. Oh yeah, I do EST. Like, goddamn, I've never seen somebody who dislikes a channel so much constantly be in that channel's viewership. Like, what the fuck? Do you know what I do? When I don't like somebody, like when I don't like a channel or whatever, I stop watching. Like, I don't watch it. Like, goddamn, bro. Jesus Christ. So don't watch, you fucking weirdo. Like, what? If I'm scrolling and I see a channel and I'm like, I don't really like what this channel's saying, I scroll on. Like, it's so easy, dude. It's so easy to just scroll. Peter, stop spamming or you will be muted in the chat. Just FYI. All right, looks like we finally got a call on the line. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to bring up Izzy. Now, Izzy is here to tell me that MAGA is not a fascist movement. We're going to find out if Izzy can defend that. Izzy, can I get your age and pronouns, please?
Yeah, sir. I'm 34. And pronouns, whatever the fuck I mean, he, him.
This ain't real. I'll act like it's real. I don't think this is a real call. Izzy, you said that MAGA is not a fascist movement. Why would you say that?
Yeah. What would you say? What is a fascist?
Fascist movements are going to be ultra-nationalistic, ultra-far-right movements that focus on building and centralizing power into one authoritarian. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was talking.
I don't understand a single thing you're saying.
I was talking.
Yeah, you gotta have to slow down, son.
I have to slow down?
Yes, I don't understand a single thing you're saying.
This isn't a real call. Why are we wasting time?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just want to know why we're wasting time.
What is a fascist? Fascist.
Why are we wasting time here?
So can you tell me what that is?
I was, and then you said I was going too fast for you. Why are we wasting time?
You're gonna have to slow down. You're gonna have to slow down.
Goodbye. I don't need to waste my time here. I don't waste my time on bullshit calls. Goodbye. Fucking A, bro. Like, what the fuck? Oh, hello, computer. Why are you slowing down like that? Like, what? Dude, obvious trolls are fairly obvious. Maybe he was that dumb. I doubt it. If that was real, then I feel really bad for people on the right. Is there landscape view from the stream? Only on Twitch. Here, we'll find out what chat thinks. We'll find out what chat thinks. We'll start a poll. I love polls. MAGA are too scared to call in. They always are. Listen, you have to remember, guys, you have to remember that in order for conservatism, in order for conservative mindsets to exist, you have to be able to shut all other worldviews out. Because the second you start allowing other worldviews or counter information in, you low-key stop being conservative. Because you realize, oh shit, this makes no goddamn sense. How can you tell he was a troll? All you did was talk over him. Are you for real? Is that for real? Leave the chat. leave the chat. Get the fuck out. I figured out pretty easily when he went, what is fascist? What is, I don't know what that is. Yeah, that's a troll, guys, please. And if it's not a troll, I'm not going to talk to somebody that's that, like, at that point, that's just bullying. Straight up bullying. The only thing that I think I'll start adding to my fascist definition, I was rereading Black Coats and Reds, and I think I would start adding a bit of corporism to the fascist definition. There really does tend to be this weird siding with the bourgeois in fascist. Hitler did it, Mussolini did it, Franco did it. Like there's this weird, not weird, I guess it makes total sense, but there's this weird like ultra capitalistic aspect of fascism where you side with big business, you prop up big business in order to, and it's a lot of like shutting down the working class. I mean, Mussolini famously like hated the fucking working class. Famously. Do I have the book still here? No, the book is at the studio. I really need to get my books back from the studio. The ice one is fairly new. Leo, shout out. Thank you so much for the Venmo. Leo said, why can't MAGA just admit the main reason they didn't vote for Kamala was racism? I think that's a part of it. I think sexism is also a part of it. And I do think that there is a part of it. I think Kamala Harris did not run an effective campaign, in my opinion. And even she talks about it in her book. What the fuck? She did not try to distance herself enough from Joe Biden. And I think that was a problem. If you go into a campaign and you know that a lot of people hate the current president, why would you go in and basically say, I'm just going to do what Biden's been doing? Like, you should have distanced yourself from him a little bit more. In my humblest opinion, right? The Communist Manifesto, this W book. It's not a book. I don't like calling it a book. It's like a bunch of pamphlets that were put together. But yeah, W. That's why when anybody does know what communism is, I'm like, dude, it's this big. Just read it. Holy fuck. It's not long at all. What is this shit? 40 pages? 48 pages. You should be able to read 48 pages. Didn't it come out the DNC literally told her to do that? Yes. I mean, she says that in her book, that her campaign was telling her, don't move too far away from what Biden did, which I think is really stupid. But it's because the DNC is a business and they're beholden to their donors and they're beholden to, Israel. You said reading and lost them? Yo, true. But are there pictures? I'll add pictures when I make the Jovan's annotated Communist Manifesto. I'll add pictures to that for easy reading. The ICE thing is in an anti-authoritarian stance, essentially. Played Disco Elysium as a communist. I've tried. I'm not a big fan of the style of game like that genre of game. Just doesn't really do much for me. Doesn't much do stuff for me. We need you and Jimmy to argue about communism for 2.5 hours. I still vehemently disagree with Jimmy that socialism is communism. Because, again, socialism is an economic form and system. Communism would be a system to run more than just economics. Communism is like a broader societal system. Can I call with a question? You can call with questions into office hours, which will be during the weekly dump, Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's when I'll be taking question calls and stuff like that. We're just sticking to debates. Although, looky here, guys. Nobody wants to debate because they're chicken shits. Chicken shits. Socialism is communism. No, it is not. And I don't know how you could read theory and still go like, yeah, socialism is communism. Socialism famously still has a state. The biggest thing about communism is the dissolution of the state. You cannot have a communist system that still has a state. Socialism still has a state. I agree. I agree with that, Joey. Socialism is a stop into communism. And I do agree that the point of socialism is to get to communism. But you also could do communism. You could skip socialism altogether, right? You could theoretically just skip socialism entirely. So that's why I would that's part of what I would argue there. Are you supportive of communism or socialism? I think both would be better than what we have now. The issue, in my opinion, was there's no true center-left media. Center-left media. Why does it have to be at the same time as Skep Talk? It's just when we decided to move the weekly dump to. I didn't want to keep doing it on Sundays. It's not my anti-ICE sentiments would still apply to police. I mean, I believe police, ICE, all these things should be abolished in general, but ICE is the focus, just the focus on the board. Do you agree that Antifa use fascism? Antifa is not an organization, so I wouldn't agree that they do anything because they're not an organization with goals. Would I agree they use fascist means to achieve those goals? No, because they're not trying to centralize power in the government. The whole fascism requires a centralization of power into like some authoritarian stance. So no, I would not agree. That would be a weird thing to agree with. Seems like people are afraid of the screener. Oh, true. The reason we're not getting callers is because everyone's afraid of Jess. True. R is spelled A-R-E. Just so you know, if you're going to insult me, spell it right. Is the 13th Amendment what you are speaking of when it comes to rights violations with forced pregnancy? No. The right that's being violated if you're being forced to stay pregnant would be your right to bodily autonomy, which is a fundamental right. It's not like a constitutional right. Although you could argue that it would fit into the 9th Amendment, which says that there are constitutions or there are rights that people have fundamentally that are not enumerated in the Constitution or in the Constitution, but just like exist because the Constitution clearly can't define every single right. How come prisoners are blameless, but you want to hold politicians accountable? Prisoners aren't blameless. The issue when it comes to police and prisons, or like prisoners in crime and whatnot, is like crime is a symptom of a larger issue of inequality. So I recognize that while somebody may be guilty of doing a crime, the system set them up for failure. So it's more about understanding. This is why we talk about like dialectical materialism. It's about understanding the why certain things happen in society and then placing that why into like a larger framework. So you've already stated in the past it's not their fault. I've never stated in the past that people who commit crimes aren't at fault for committing those crimes. That would be a very poor reading of what I have said, which is that prisons specifically don't accomplish anything. They don't lead to lower recidivism rates. The only way prisons are going to accomplish like a massive crackdown on crime is if we, what's the word I'm looking for? Is if we move it to a more authoritarian rule where we're so tough on crime that we remove people's rights. You know? Other than that, prisons don't effectively accomplish anything. So is some imprisonment okay? It depends on what you mean by imprisonment. Like, are some people being held as punishment for a crime okay? Yes, but what are we doing beyond holding them as punishment for a crime? How are we stopping those crimes from happening in the future, right? Just holding someone as punishment for a crime doesn't stop that crime from happening. So I want to look at the reasons why those crimes are happening and how we change that in the future. That's what's important, right? It's not just, hey, these things are happening. It's, hey, how do we stop these things from happening? You know? Saying that communism is unavoidable due to AI enhancements. I would actually disagree with that. I think that in order for those AI enhancements to lead, all right, let me rephrase this. I don't think AI enhancements and advancements in technology are going to lead to communism. I think you need to do communism first before you get those things, because those things are just going to be commodified by capitalism, right? It doesn't matter how good those things are; they're going to be commodified. I do think that AI is at a point where until we either A, move to nuclear power, like on a whole, so which case we're not going to have the issues with data centers and electricity usage. I want to see what else am I trying to say? It's not so much about AI, I think, as more that it's about automation, and automation hitting a point where we don't need human input as much. But again, I don't think it's gonna happen I don't think you can make that stuff. It's just like I said, gonna be commodified. So yeah. Ew, AI. I think having the take ew AI is bad. I think AI can be good for a lot of things. I think using AI as like a source mechanism, so where it can more, because like something to keep in mind is Google already does this. The way when you type something into Google to search, it has an internal AI algorithm that generates searches in a way that's going to give you the most relevant searches, but you have to sort through sponsored posts, Google push posts, things like that. Having an independent AI that can do that, where it can ignore the sponsored stuff and just give you a list of sources of stuff for you to click and look into. Okay, I think that's a really good use of AI. AI to run the back ends of stuff can be good if it's actually developed properly. Generative AI is terrible. Generative AI is a piece of shit. Stupid. This is why, like, my webcomic, Grace does my webcomics and stuff. I pay an actual artist to do my webcomics, to do my stuff like that. So AI art, I agree. Not good. Pretty bad. But like AI as a tool, not bad. And I also think there's some AI language models that are fun. Having an AI language model that like imitates Super Mario and you can go and talk to like AI Super Mario, I think is fine. Things like that I think is fine. The problem is when people rely on AI to start helping them even just formulate ideas and sentences and whatnot, you're actively making yourself stupider by doing that. Like you're actively becoming dumber. I don't think there's an ethical way to use generative AI because it just copies. Like maybe if you get a massive database where every time the AI references an artist's art to generate something, that artist gets paid proportionally to what the AI thing is getting paid. Maybe you then have a little bit more ethical. One of the issues with generative AI, and then we'll get to a call. We'll get to our call after I talk about this real quick. One of the issues with generative AI that we're coming into is generative AI CP. People have been taking images of children online and generating CP out of it using generative AI models. Like, that's fucking crazy, dude. This is where we're fucking at. Like, I think we should probably get that under control before we let AI really become a big thing, you know? Yeah, and I think I agree that chatting with an AI model can be interesting. But the problem is, I would want to chat with one that does not try to sound human. Don't try to sound human. Don't be like, wow, yeah, that idea is great. I don't care about any of that. Just fucking like, but yeah, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Yes, that is what CP is short for, Leroy. Let's bring up our call. First call today. We are gonna chat with Daniel. Daniel wants to debate topic number 3. Believes sovereign borders should be enforced. Daniel, welcome to the show. Can you please provide me your age and pronouns?
Yeah, I'm 24. He, him.
Okay.
How are you
Now,
doing,
Daniel?
today?
I'm chilling. Daniel, you are in support of ICE. Is that correct?
Yes and no. There's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with. The topic is ICE is anti-American. Sorry, I'm just taking this call on my lunch break, and I still get messages from my coworkers. Sorry. Yeah. So I don't support everything that they're doing, and I think what's your stance on it?
My stance is that ICE is anti-American, or at least anti what America claims to be. ICE is very clearly targeting people in racial ways. ICE is,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been determined by the Supreme Court that ICE can racially profile people, and it's okay. I think that's anti what America claims to be. America was built and born from the melting pot. It was built and born from people, you know, things that I can't think of right now. But like, yeah, I would say ICE goes against this pretty hard, and that's my big issue. Also, when we look at the way ICE is just violating people's constitutional rights time and time again, I think any police force that primarily focuses on violating people's rights like that is a bad thing.
Right, and we definitely have some common ground there. I don't think racial profiling is okay. I don't think violating people's constitutional rights is okay. The Supreme Court rules that they can do that. I disagree with that on a personal level. Okay, but we also have to look at I'm not saying the ends justify the means. I'm not saying that. I don't agree with a lot of the ways that they're doing it. What they're doing, though, is they're trying to remove people who have broken the law to enter the country. That's kind of like what they're trying to do, right? Like, do you agree with that?
I agree that's their stated
goal. So right, and you and I are not ICE agents. I don't know what's going on in their boardrooms. Neither do you. I'm not going to make any assumptions of what they're saying or not saying.
I know that if they fight a legal case saying they should be allowed to racially profile, that tells me all I need to know.
Right, and we agree. Like, I'm not saying that's okay. I'm saying their goal that they tell the public. I'm
saying that them fighting a Supreme Court case that they should be able to racially profile tells me that their goal is to get rid of brown people. It's not to get rid of people that are illegal, because they're going, we should be able to go after somebody if they speak Spanish when there's a large number of people who are here undocumented from European countries, right? Their goal is brown people from the southern border, right? Their goal is to be removing, and only because
they're also removing people. Yeah. Sorry, they're also removing people north of the border from Canada too. Like, I know people who have been picked up, and they've expired. Their Canadian visas expired, and they were taken away by ICE. And
but they didn't go. They didn't go to the Supreme Court and say we should be able to target white people just because they're white because they might be Canadian. No, they said we should be able to target people that are brown and speak Spanish because they might be from the southern border.
Okay, so we agree that that part of it isn't American, and I agree, right? We have common ground there. Like the end goal, the overarching goal, like I'm trying to look beyond this like point, which matters, it's a big one, but what they're trying to do is remove people who have entered the country illegally, right? Like if we look at it beyond race, they're taking out criminals is what they're trying to do. They're using this as like a shortcut.
I'm just gonna be like, I don't believe engaging in a victimless crime, like entering the country illegally, deserves you to be either a someone said my noise gate is too aggressive. I'll take a look at what you guys are talking about. I don't think that should lead you to either a being what's the word I'm looking for? There, that should fix it, guys. That should help the noise gate. When it comes to like removing people from the country, I don't think that gives you the right, just because your stated goal is like getting people out, that gives you the right to then violate people's constitutional rights. It definitely doesn't give you the right to like ship people off to some like third country where they're going to be going into like a prison that's akin to like a fucking concentration camp. I don't think any of these are in any way justifiable. And because I believe these are so grossly unjustifiable, you shouldn't be able to, like, ICE is indefensible because of this.
Okay, I don't think you can say indefensible for anything. Like, everyone's entitled to legal defense. Like, everyone can be defended. Whether or not it holds up in court is a different question.
Well, ICE doesn't give people their legal right to be entering. Wait. First, ICE doesn't give people. There are so many people who are held incommunicado and are not able to access their lawyers. That's a violation. That's wrong. ICE is doing this on purpose.
Sorry, I was waiting for you to finish. Okay. I don't think it's a victimless crime.
Who's the victim?
Like, let's say you and I are people trying to enter the U.S. from any country, it doesn't matter. And you're waiting in line, you're given a 5-year, 10-year period of waiting through the legal process. And then I go, and I'm just going to walk through the Niagara Falls port of entry from Canada and the U.S. and cross over and start my American life. Like, the victim is the person waiting in line for the
Incorrect. You crossing the border didn't affect. You crossing the border doesn't affect the person waiting in line. It doesn't affect them at all. It doesn't make wait times longer for those people that are trying to get in. What affects those people are when Donald Trump comes in and makes legal immigration harder by restricting the amount of green cards and visas that they give out, or making it harder to sponsor people and things like that. You coming in illegally does not affect the person who's trying to come in legally. It does not make the system, the way the system is built up for them, change whatsoever at all. These are not comparable things.
Oh, I think it does.
This is like a red herring.
I think.
Wait, I know you said you. I heard you.
Maybe.
You think it does, but like, can you demonstrate? Because again, we don't change the laws for the people trying to get in here legally. We don't adjust the wait times or any of that based on what the number of illegal immigrants here are. We don't do any of that.
The way that I think the person waiting is a victim, okay, not a victim of physical violence, for instance. It's more of like mentally, like I'm waiting 10 years and you cutting line. Like, we can even like make it not about entering the country illegally. We can say like someone cuts in line in front of you at, I don't know, a restaurant, takeout. You know, you're still going to get your food, but now
because if someone cuts in line at me at a restaurant, hold on, this is wrong. If someone cuts in line at me at a restaurant, they're actively making me wait. They're actively making me wait longer. It is not the same when it comes to immigration. Somebody coming in illegally does not change the amount of time I have to wait or any of that. It doesn't change that at all. Again, this is why I said it's a red herring.
Would there? Okay, I'm listening. But you know, we're both trying to convey our opinions. So mine is not an opinion. Saying that
mine is fact that the people who come in here via like the border, like undocumented people.
If we're debating, we're not lecturing. Like a lecture is like you're telling me a fact. Like this is
No,
like
debates.
I'm saying that there's
Debates have
government,
facts in them.
there's strengths, there's strengths on the government personnel to deal with the illegal immigration,
No,
right?
there's not.
There's it costs money. Okay, it costs money to deal with illegal immigration because you have to pay
Money
for
that is
the
money that
enforcers
is
to go in.
money that is budgeted differently than the money that's budgeted for judges to deal with legal immigration cases. Those monies come from two different appropriations.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Not maybe.
Okay.
What is maybe? They absolutely do.
Well, I'm saying I don't know. Like you're saying okay, and I'll take your word for it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you the
And
money appropriated for ICE or border officials to handle getting people out of the country does not come from or affected by the money that we send towards legal immigration. But what happens is in the drive to kick people out, you have people like Donald Trump, for instance, who doesn't even want people here legally. So he makes it harder for legal immigrants to get into the country. Not because illegal immigrants are coming in, because he wants to limit legal immigration as well. He doesn't want these people in the country. So again, there is no, if I cross the border illegally and I just come into this country, right? I don't do anything else. I just come in. There is no victim from this. I didn't hurt anybody. There was no violence against anybody. There's nobody whose status changes based on the fact that I came in here. That's what I'm talking about. It's a victimless crime. So I don't believe in punishment for victimless crimes being like unilateral across the board. Now, I could say if you're in here illegally and you commit a crime, sure, I don't know that I necessarily have an issue with you being deported after that. If you commit some violent crime while you're here, I do think you should probably serve your sentence out in the country first. But like, I don't necessarily have an issue with this. But it would appear the bulk of people ICE is shipping out here are not criminals, right? I think it's only 12% of people that ICE have gone after have any sort of criminal history or charges, right? I don't believe in taking the people that are here.
Sorry, you're saying 12% don't have criminal charges beyond the crime of illegally entering the country.
They don't even have criminal charges of, just so you know, they don't even have criminal charges of entering illegally. Right? They don't have those charges when they're picked up by ICE. Right? So when it comes, like some people have charges, like I said, about 12% do, but the bulk of people don't have any charges levied against them. And I think that if you are in this country, even if you're in this country, and you're here illegally, but you're working, you're contributing, you're paying taxes, you're building parts of the community, you're doing all of these things, I have no issues with you being here. I think the better thing we should do is to take people that are here illegally and who are doing this and give them a pathway to citizenship. Like it would just make more sense. It'd be cheaper if we just give them a pathway to citizenship. We wouldn't be losing tax revenue if we just give them a pathway to citizenship. Like it's the only thing that makes the most sense in the long run to the benefit of the country. Just blanket, let's kick them all out, doesn't benefit anybody.
I mean, giving them all a pathway to citizenship would fix the illegal immigration problem. But would it not then tell the people waiting in line for 10 years to just flood the border?
No, we can do both. We can make it easier for people to get in here. We just make it easier for people to get in here legally as well. We stop making it hard for people to get into the country. There should not be 10-year waits to enter the country.
Yeah, I agree. That is ridiculous, but that's reality. It's been like that for I don't know how long.
Yes, but we're having a conversation about what ought be, not what is, right? How ought we fix this problem?
Yeah, we are. I do have a question about illegally. Sorry, my brain is melting. So someone enters the country and illegally and starts working, and you say they pay taxes. How do they pay taxes if they don't have a number, like a social?
They get an ITIN number. You can get an ITIN number if you're not a citizen, which is a number for that both people undocumented and documented can use if they don't have social security numbers. And the ITIN number allows you to work above board and pay taxes. About 50 to 75% of all undocumented households are working through ITIN numbers. And through ITIN numbers, the IRS estimates about $100 billion in taxes are paid from undocumented immigrants each year. Through ITIN numbers and through like sales tax and things like that.
Well, yeah, sales tax is out of the question. Of course, everyone pays sales tax. I didn't know about that ITIN number.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Thank you for telling me about that. Yeah, I really only see stuff that's like on the news about how people.
The news isn't going to talk about
steal like
that
the numbers of other people.
That is so. First of all, that's so rare. Like theft of social security numbers is so rare because when you're here undocumented, you don't want to draw attention to yourself. What draws attention to yourself more than committing a federal crime? And we tend to catch people that are stealing social security numbers. Like we tend to catch those people.
Yeah, we do. That's why we know about it. Yeah, it's very interesting. I think I have a problem with when people get smuggled in. Those people, the smugglers, are caught all the time. Those people should get hit with heavy fines, obviously. But yeah. I guess going back to the original question is ICE anti-American? My opinion was that ICE has the right to enforce the sovereignty of the nation, and people who shouldn't be in the country should be removed, is kind of my underlying opinion. Because if there are no borders and people can just nomadically walk through every country, then what is it to be American?
Well, we would just have a fundamental disagreement on like borders. Like I don't believe borders should exist. But like, okay, yeah, well, I don't disagree that under our current legal system, we probably need a way to target people that are here illegally and who are harming the system in like some massive way, whether that be committing violent offenses, things like that. But I don't believe ICE is effective in doing this. I think what would be effective in stopping people from coming over the country to blah, blah, to do whatever, what would be effective is working with Mexico to help curtail cartels in fundamentally end them in, like if we decriminalize drugs, I think this would go a long way into affecting the cartel's bottom line, especially if we can get more people off of addiction. This will go a long way to curtailing, like we don't address the actual thing that would end drug smuggling, which is fighting to end addiction, right? That would end drug smuggling because you wouldn't have people who have a need for drugs, like ending addiction, which would require us to tackle poverty, which would require us to tackle wealth inequality. We don't do any of the things that would actually see decreases of this, right? So to me, like, until we do this, I don't know what.
Point. You definitely have a point there about eliminating addiction. I think that's impossible to eliminate addiction. Even if we legalized cocaine, let's say all the drugs across the board were legalized and like, I don't know, let's talk about perfect world. No one's addicted to them. Okay. And it's all legal. If that would solve the problem. But if they were just legalized today, right, the drug smuggling is still going to continue because there just won't be enough production to keep up with the domestic demand.
We're not talking about legalizing drugs. We're talking about decriminalizing drugs, right? When we're talking about like ending addiction, I'm not saying that we're going to fully wipe addiction off the map. But right now in the United States, we tend to have a care last model. When what we've seen, especially from countries that have very effectively tackled addiction, that care first models are what work the best. So focusing on mental health, focusing on the decrease of wealth inequality, focusing on the reasons why people become addicts, which tend to be trauma-based responses. Focusing on these methods curtails addiction far more than just hard, fast criminalizing drugs. There's a reason why the war on drugs is considered an abject failure from almost anyone who's ever studied the policies and the effects of the war on drugs.
Yeah, those are definitely resources that should be implemented.
And also,
Um,
if you, not saying that we do this, but if you do make drugs, if you did make drugs legal, right? Like, let's take pot, for instance. If I'm
uh,
somebody that likes to smoke and I know I can go buy my weed from a government registered dispensary and I don't have to worry about it being laced. I don't have to worry about like some dude in a back alley trying to sell me whatever. I don't have to worry about any of that, and I can just go get it easily. Like, I'm gonna take that option like 100% of the time.
yeah, of course.
So there is
Well, I
something to
mean,
be said about
Canada
the
implemented it,
possibility
and
of
they're doing fine.
yeah. There's something to be said about that. Not that I think that's the method to go, but I do think decriminalizing and focusing on the care that people have, right? Focusing on getting less
Hmm.
people, like focusing on the opioid epidemic, the opiate epidemic that we have that is born from over prescriptions, right? There is an issue we have with the way we
Yeah.
medicate pain, and that pain medication leading to people getting addicted, leading to people like this is half of where the fentanyl addiction crisis comes from. It's people getting addicted to opiates. I think there's something to be said about how we tackle things like that. But like I said, what doesn't work is the hardcore criminalization of this.
Yeah, I think I mostly agree with you there. I do think that the criminalization of it isn't necessarily targeted at the consumer. I think it's more towards the dealer. Like if you're caught dealing coke, um, you get hit with those fines. I think the byproduct is the user also gets hit with that. So there still has to be some penalties, obviously. Um, but also, I wanted to go back a second and touch on you said the U.S. should work with Mexico to destroy the cartel, or well, you didn't say that exactly, but was that, am I remembering correctly?
It's not so much that we should work with Mexico to destroy the cartels, but I think if we destabilize the cartels market, that's going to be more effective in stopping the
Yes,
cartel than some like
that's
hardcore criminal push.
right. That I wanted to touch on that because I did see, not super recently, I mean like a month ago, I was like reading about the cartels, like, you know, predicted revenue from smuggling people into the US. So I don't have the number on me, but it's a large number, right? More than the drug money. Like, I don't know if you want to make a quick Google search for that, or
Well, yeah, if we want to
I don't know.
curtail
We could,
that, it's super simple. Make it easier to come into the country. Then people aren't going to have a need to go to the cartel to do this. Like personally, the way I would
right.
structure
I mean, there
immigration,
are two ways.
like the way I would
Sorry.
structure immigration to basically
Yeah.
end this process of cartels is I would say if you want to come into, we work with Mexico, right? Or any other country in the world, we work and create a global database, right? With these countries, and we say, hey, if you want to come in, come to any checkpoint, come in. We're going to quickly verify you with a criminal background check, which should be able we can do instantaneous. If we work with these other countries, now it'll cost money, obviously, to maintain these databases, but there is a net benefit to doing it. So I would say spend that money. You come in, you get a quick criminal background check. If you have no history of violence, you come on into the country. Come on in. That's that. You come in, we give you like a non-citizen ID. We sign you up with like an ITIN number right out the gate. You can come in this country, you can work, you can do whatever. After a year, you get a letter in the mail that says, hey, like we might make it like every month you have to check in while you're still in this first year process. Just every month, come check in with us. We're going to see how you're doing. The check-in is more to just make
Yeah.
sure you're doing okay than anything else. After a
The
year, you get a
details
letter in the
don't
mail that
matter
says,
to the overall
yeah,
view.
yeah, you come in, you say, hey, with this letter, it says, hey, do you want to become a citizen? You've been here a year, you've been chilling. Do you want to become a citizen? You either say yes or you say no. If you say yes, you're a citizen automatically. We'll swap out your ITIN for a social security number. We'll get you on your way. If you say no, great. You can still be here as a citizen. Have fun. Enjoy your time. It might be the case that we say non-citizens have to pay like an extra 1% in tax, maybe, like people who are in that bracket, just so that way it seems a bit more fair. I don't necessarily agree with that, but if it's a way to like get people on board with it, like go nuts. Um, and if we do this, what power does the cartel have to smuggle people in? People know as long as have never committed a criminal offense, I'm gonna just get to go in. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely two ways to approach immigration your way. Just let like your plan, and the current one, which is just remove the people that shouldn't be here. There are those two options. I'm not agreeing with like the latter, but eliminating people being able to enter the country illegally has, like I'm saying, as a fact, it has had a negative impact on the bottom line of the cartel, and they are currently struggling more than they ever have. Like they're trying to smuggle people through the Canadian border instead of the Mexico one because it's so bad in the south, like in this other border. Yeah, I just wanted to bring up that point. I think we had a really nice civil conversation about this whole thing, and I'm happy to be given the time. But I do have to get going because I have work to do and I have to make a coffee and some lunch. So it was a pleasure talking to you.
Before you go down, I just want to
And
let you know that
yeah,
I like to like look stuff up here, and what I'm showing is that right now, as it comes, the policies we've done as an increase in the to border security through like Trump's administration have led to we have not seen a decrease in the cartel's ability to smuggle people. It's just they're coming up with new ways to do it. So
okay. I mean, we don't know who makes it through because we don't see them. I've seen otherwise, but it's neither here nor there. There is no way to know who's truly correct.
okay.
The only way to know is if we like had the numbers from God or whatever, who see like some, I don't know, omnipotent being who knows everything. Like that's the only way to know, right? Like,
Yeah.
that make sense? Okay. Well,
Sure.
anyways, like I said, great talking to you. Thanks for the conversation, man.
Yep. You have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Well, there we have it. Oh, I never put his name and shit on screen. Oh shit. That was Daniel, for anybody that wanted to know. Yeah. I think my plan specifically for immigration, I think would curtail a lot of the issues that we see from illegal immigration. It would stop employers from being able to hire people under the table because everybody would have an ITIN number. It would stop cartels from having power, things like that. So that's my thing. So anyway, let's move on. Now we didn't get any tips or anything from that call, which is fair. So I don't have anything to read to. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see. These are all toys for the toy drive that I have to go through. So shout out to everybody that's been helping out with the toy drive. There's more boxes in my hallway. I got to get all these sorted and see what other toys we need. So yeah. Next up, coming on the stream is Patrick. Now, Patrick wants to tell me that trans women are not women. Let's see if Patrick is able to defend this. Patrick, welcome to stream. Can you please provide me your age and pronouns?
I'm 30, and I'm a he.
Okay. Now, Patrick, you don't think trans women are women. Why do you not think trans women are women, Patrick?
Because they were assigned male at birth.
Why does somebody need to, or why does somebody being assigned male at birth not make them a woman?
Why does someone being assigned a male at birth not make them a woman?
Yep. Like, why can't someone who is assigned male at birth be a woman? Why do they automatically become men?
Well, you know what? I almost have an issue with the term assigned, as if sex and gender isn't recognized.
I no,
I think
100%
people play
sex is
these
wait, real quick.
strange.
100% sex is
Uh,
recognized. When we say assigned at birth, it's just because we're not karyotyping people. So we don't know what your actual sex is without that like karyotyping. So we just assume what it is based on what your genitals are. And typically we are correct about this, right? Typically your genitals will line up with what your sex is.
yeah,
But unless we fully karyotype someone, there is no way to fully know what their sex is. Genotypically, at least.
yeah. So that's why I kind of have an issue with that. I kind of feel like it adds to the mental gymnastics people try to play when they're playing this trans game here.
I think it's just
Now,
more accurate to the science.
yeah, I mean, I wish that we were, further into science where we could actually change somebody's sex. And I think maybe we'll get there one day.
Well,
But at the
we
moment, we're not there.
technically can via the way that we determine sex scientifically. So you typically have like genotypic and phenotypic sex. Genotypic sex talks about like your chromosomes. We tend to not use genotypic sex and
Mhm.
phenotypic sex in like a broader societal sense, but like when we categorize people by sex, we use 5 specific sex traits, which is gonads, hormone production, chromosomes, and internal and external genitalia. And other than chromosomes, the other 4 of
Mhm.
those can typically be changed in one way or another. So there is a lot of consensus in the scientific realm that like your sex can be a modifiable trait with enough medical science.
Ooh, yeah, you can modify it, but you can't completely change it yet.
I would argue
I
with
think
enough
I think they'll
modification,
probably be able to do it one day.
like I would say with enough modification, you would definitely lean more one way than the other. That would just be my argument there. But like that's
Yeah, you
that's
could
besides the point. Like
lean.
we're more
Mhm.
talking sex when I'm talking about is like when we're talking about the main topic of the board, which is trans women being women. That's more of a gender conversation than a sex conversation.
Yeah, but when it really boils down to it, because it's not that complicated, You try to make it complicated because you want to affirm these things for these people because you want to be kind, but in the end, you end up hurting them.
Well, I would argue that I'm not trying to make things complicated. I'm trying to make things scientifically accurate. And science is not a simple thing. The science behind like sex and gender is not a simple thing. It's not like it requires more complicated conversations about like biology, neuroscience, sociology, psychology. These things are, but I don't know what you mean about like why when I say these things I'm harming
I
those
don't think
people
it.
more. I don't know how
I
you
don't
would.
think it. Yeah. Okay. So when somebody is going through that, they have an issue mentally,
What do you
and
mean by they have an
when
issue
you
mentally?
affirm their delusion, like if you are going through some kind of dysphoric episode, or if you are a male and you're looking in the mirror and you feel that God has made a mistake,
Okay. First and
and you
foremost,
feel uncomfortable in
first
your
and foremost,
skin, you're
you
having
are
panic
intuition
attacks.
dumping the shit out of this conversation right now. First of all, I don't believe in a god, so I don't believe God can make mistakes. I don't believe in a god, so I wouldn't even touch on that
It was just
on
a
the
saying.
topic.
It was just a saying.
Sure, but like what I want to point out here is gender dysphoria is just stress, right? It's just stress. It's not some magical mental dysfunction that clicks over. It's just that you have an immense amount of stress related to your phenotypic traits not
Uh-huh.
aligning with your gender identity. It is just stress. Dysphoria just means stress. It's stress brought about by your gender. That's it. There's no mental thing there. It's just that you have stress.
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
stressed out.
being stressed out is a strain on your mental. So it is a mental thing. So that's
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
weird that
whoa.
you would
It
like
affect. Wait, wait, wait,
try to
wait.
do
It
that. That's
affect. No, because
strange.
that was grossly dishonest, and I'll show you how that was grossly dishonest. When we talk
No, it's
about
not.
when you literally started this conversation with these people have a delusion. There's like some mental disorder messing with their brain or doing all this.
Yes.
No, they just
Yeah,
have
of course.
stress. It's just stress. So this is why like what you're pain and while stress can have an effect on your brain, stress is not like a disorder, a delusion, or anything like that. It's just stress. So I don't know if you are purposely trying to be
No.
dishonest, but
Uh-huh.
it's like very lazy debate tactics.
No, you gotta let me finish. So it's not just stress. You know what I mean? Like
Dysphoria is just stress.
calling it just stress is kind of belittling like what they're going
Dysphoria
through.
literally means
It's not like the stress of like
dysphoria quite literally means an immense amount of emotional distress. That's literally what dysphoria means.
Okay, an intense amount. That's not just, when you say just stress, you're focusing on just. Like if I'm having trouble paying a phone bill, I'm just a little stressed out about that. If I look in the mirror and believe I'm the other gender or sex, that is more than just a little bit of some stress.
I'm not labeling stress on like a scale, right? I'm just putting all stress into the same category here. But that's why I add the immense. Right?
Yeah, but you shouldn't when we're talking about this.
Dysphoria is an immense amount of stress. And I've said this. I already said that. I'm just saying
good.
Dysphoria just means stress. It means that immense amount of stress. So it's like you're only listening to like half of what I'm saying.
Exactly. And there's different No. And so when we're talking about gender dysphoria, this is an immense amount of stress due to you not fitting your phenotypic, whatever. That's what we're saying.
It's
we
due
can both
to your
agree on
phenotypic
that.
sexual.
But when you affirm somebody's delusion,
it's not a delusion. This is where is where your intuition pumping again. It's not a delusion. A delusion.
No,
what does delusion mean? What does delusion mean?
It's not you telling me.
What does delusion mean?
To believe in something that's not true.
Great. Trans people don't believe in something that's not true. This is why I'm saying your intuition pumping the argument.
They do, and when you affirm that,
they don't.
No, I mean this is where we disagree. This is why we're debating.
Well, no,
okay,
but you're not. Wait, but you're not.
Let me explain why you're hurting them.
Hold on, Patrick, because this is why I'm saying you're intuition pumping the argument, right? This is what you're doing. You're saying, well, they believe in a delusion. Well, now the conversation is what do trans people believe? Is that backed up and supported with scientific evidence? Is this them believing in something that doesn't exist? It is 100% backed up by scientific evidence, and it's not them believing in something that doesn't exist. You're just intuition pumping. So if you want to try to prove that they believe something that doesn't exist, you can try that, but I promise you, the scientific evidence does not align with you.
Yeah. So this is why it's harmful when you do this, right?
I don't care about. I don't care about. Wait, stop. I don't care about the harm. I don't care about the harm. Prove it's a delusion. Prove it's a delusion. No, I don't care about you.
You don't care about.
No,
you don't
Patrick,
care about.
Patrick, if you continue to be dishonest,
you don't care about harming
Patrick, if you continue to be dishonest, I'm going to crash the fuck.
If you let me finish, you will understand.
No, Patrick, shut up. I don't care that
this is why you're upset right now. It's okay,
dude. Fucking Christ, I'm gonna have to mute you if you don't shut up. I don't care that you believe what I'm doing is harmful based on you believing that they have a delusion. Prove that what they believe is not true. Prove it's a delusion. And then we can talk about if what I'm doing is harmful. I don't give a fuck that you think it's harmful. I want you to stand on business and prove that it's delusion. That's what you need to do. I'll unmute you now. Stop trying to fucking virtue signal this shit. God damn. No, you're not trying, because if you start the conversation
virtue signal, what are you doing?
It's a virtue signal when you go, I think what you're doing is harmful because of X, Y. This is a virtue signal. Like, that's all it is. Can you please now?
What do you mean? I didn't get to the X, Y, Z.
Damn, dude. Jesus Christ. Just tell me how you are going to prove that they have a delusion.
Oh, well, you could prove it through counseling.
Can you not be vague? Can we not be vague? Can you actually answer the question?
You have to.
Holy shit.
If you don't go get the help, and go get a diagnosis, then how can anybody prove anything?
What the fuck are you talking about, Patrick?
To me, it's very obvious. If I look at you, it's very obvious.
What are you talking about? That's the dumbest answer I've ever heard.
What am I talking about?
Because it's such a stupid answer. How is it that they have a delusion? Answer this question.
You're getting so triggered right now.
Answer this question, bro. I swear to God. This is. I'm just gonna mute you again. This is the problem with people who are like intellectual, fucking dishonest interlocutors. You don't want to have the actual conversation, right? I don't give a fuck about the ad homing. I don't give a fuck about any of that. All I care about is the actual debate. Prove they have a delusion, Patrick. Prove that. I don't give a fuck about the diagnosis. That doesn't tell me anything. Because if you want to talk about the diagnosis, a diagnosis of gender dysphoria is not telling you have a mental illness. This has been stated time and time again by the American Psychological Association. Having gender incongruence, having that dysphoria, does not relate to any sort of mental illness. So I'm going to ask you again, and we'll see if you can be honest. Give me a fucking give a syllogism for all I give a fuck. Give a premise 1, premise 2, conclusion about how they have a delusion, and then we can analyze that. God damn, stop being lazy. Now you can talk.
So are you not going to let me tell you why you're harming them?
No, I told you we're not talking about that. Prove they have a delusion. In order to prove I'm harming them, you have to prove they have a delusion.
If you have gender dysphoria, you have a delusion.
Prove it, stupid. I said prove it.
It's that
like all you're doing is reasserting.
That's just what it is. That's what it is.
Circular answers are so fucking dumb. Are
complicated.
you fucking kidding me? Circular answers are so stupid.
It's
show
not
me
that complicated.
here.
You're
We'll do this
making
super
it
simple.
complicated.
We'll do this super simple. Show me in the APA. Show me in the DSM-5 where it says gender dysphoria is a delusion. Go ahead.
What?
Gender dysphoria is a diagnosable. Gender dysphoria
What
is a
is it?
diagnosable mental health condition put upon by the APA. They created the diagnosis to align in the DSM-5 with having the immense amount of stress that comes from your physical phenotypic traits of sex not aligning with your gender identity. So because they created gender dysphoria, they created the diagnosis. Show me where they call it a delusion, Patrick. Show me anywhere. Give some shred of evidence for what you're talking about.
Is the delusion.
Okay, so you're just going to give circular answers because you don't know how to debate. I'm muting you again. You don't know how to debate. What you're doing is a circular answer. You're affirming my question by just restating your position. Why? I think this is a delusion. Why do you think it's a delusion? Because it is a delusion. Is the worst fucking semblance of answering. Oh man, the sky is blue. Jovan, why do you think the sky is blue? Just because it's blue. That doesn't answer the fucking question. Unfortunately, I want you to answer the question. And I think this is not something you have the capability of doing because you're not researched in any of this. I can go straight to the APA where they say having some semblance of gender incongruence, which is when your gender doesn't align with your sex, is not in any way, shape, or form related to mental illness. Delusion would be a mental illness. It's not related to this. So Patrick, I need you to actually answer the question. If you try to answer a different question, or if you answer a question, or if you just answer the question with the question, I don't know what you expect to do here. You're just proving that you're not intelligent enough for this conversation. So can you please answer the question, how is it a delusion? Give me a syllogism that substantiates your claim.
I think you rely on phony science to try to.
I don't care about any of this. You're muted again. I don't care about any of this. Holy shit. Stop being a fucking baby and just answer the question. I don't care about any of what you're saying. The phony science is not me referencing the American Psychological Association. The phony science is you saying it is a delusion because it is. I'm going to unmute you again. I want an answer to the question. Holy shit, dude. Answer the question. Stop being a fucking baby and answer the question.
Your anti-scientific sentiments
Holy
are bad.
shit, dude. You literally can't answer the question. Like, this is embarrassing. This is an embarrassment. All I want you to do is prove to me that it is a delusion. Answer that question. That's all I care about. Every time I unmute you and you start talking about something else that is not the question that's been proposed to you, you're admitting to me that you are incapable of having this conversation on an intellectual level. So can you just answer the question that has been proposed to you? Prove that it is a delusion. Go ahead, Patrick.
I already answered that question like 3 times.
No, you didn't. You said it's a delusion.
I'm just not
because
giving you
it is
an
a
answer
delusion.
that you like.
You used a circular answer that's so stupid. You literally said it's a delusion because it is a delusion.
No, I said
that's not an
dysphoric.
Answer, dummy. That's not an answer.
God.
Show me where dysphoria is labeled a delusion in any medical literature. Show me. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll wait.
If you're suffering that level of dysphoria, if you're suffering
Here we go
that
again.
level
You're going to give a circular
dysphoria,
answer again. Thank you.
You're going to become deluded. That's it.
There we go. Circular answer again. There we go. Show me in any medical literature.
It's just not the answer
Patrick. The question I asked you was show me in medical literature how having dysphoria is labeled delusional. Show me this in any piece of medical literature. Anywhere. You can't do that. That's the question I asked you. And now you can't even answer that. You're an embarrassment, Patrick. Jesus fucking
No,
Christ.
I already answered your question.
No, you didn't.
I already answered your question, and you're getting mad.
No, you didn't,
because
Patrick.
I answered your question.
Patrick, I'm getting mad
And
because
people,
you might
a lot
be
of people.
God damn, dude. I'm getting mad because you're a terrible debater. If you were to actually answer the question, I wouldn't fucking mute you. I wouldn't be sitting here fucking putting you on mute so that I can explain to you how to answer a fucking question accurately. You haven't answered the question. The first question was, how is it delusional? And then you said, well, if you're suffering from dysphoria, you're going to become delusional. Okay, so I guess dysphoria isn't delusion. You might become delusional from suffering from dysphoria. Now substantiate that, Patrick. Give some sort of evidence to your fucking claim. God damn, dude. Evidence. Do you know what evidence is? Can you spell evidence? Give evidence for your claim or shut up. Go ahead, provide evidence now, Patrick. You're unmuted. I want the evidence.
I mean,
nope, I don't want to hear anything else except you providing the evidence. That's all I want to hear. You say anything that's not you providing. No, Patrick, you say anything besides, that's not evidence for it being a delusion. That would be stupid. You providing anything, if I'm going to give you one more chance to provide, I'm going to give you one, I'm muting you now because I hate this fucking smarmy ass laughing. I'm going to mute you. You say, I'm going to unmute you if you tell me anything that is not you providing medical evidence that having, first of all, not all disorders are delusions. That would be really stupid to say. You provide some semblance of evidence that having dysphoria is a delusion or having dysphoria leads to delusion. That's all I want is the medical evidence. You say anything else that is not you citing a piece of medical evidence, I'm just going to mute you again. That's all I want to hear from you is a piece of medical evidence. Go ahead.
Okay, yes. We're agreeing that the gender...
Okay, that wasn't a piece of medical evidence, so I muted you again. Nope, don't want to hear the agree, don't want to hear any of that. Cite the piece of medical evidence. That's all I want you to do, is cite a piece of medical evidence that says that dysphoria is a delusion. That's all I want. That's it. That's all I want. So if you do anything besides cite a study or an article or any of that, you just go back on mute. You're unmuted now. Cite the evidence.
It's classified.
It's not citing the evidence. It's classified as not citing the evidence. All I want is a citation, either a DOI number of a study, a section of a medical journal, a section of a medical textbook, something to substantiate your claim right now. That's all I want to hear. Like I said, anything else gets you muted. You are unmuted again. Cite the evidence.
It's common sense, man.
Okay, thank you for proving my point. You don't have evidence. You proved my point brilliantly just there. You don't have evidence to common sense doesn't exist if you can't back up the shit you say with fact. Then it's not actually common sense. And the common sense of what a bunch of stupid people like you believe is not the common sense I want to engage with. Unfortunately. Now, I will prove it's not a delusion based on actual evidence. Okay? Let me do that because clearly, I have to actually, holy shit, like fucking go on a fucking tirade here with actual information. So per the APA, and I'm going to read this verbatim from the American Psychological Association. This is a actual source that I'm going to read verbatim. Is being transgender a mental disorder? This comes directly from the APA. A psychological state is considered a mental disorder if it causes significant distress or disability. Many transgender people do not experience their gender as distressing or disabling, which implies that identifying as transgender does not constitute a mental disorder. For those individuals, the significant problem is finding affordable resources such as counseling, hormone therapy, medical procedures, and the social support necessary to freely express their gender identity and minimize discrimination. Many other obstacles may lead to distress, including a lack of acceptance within society, direct or indirect experiences with discrimination or assault. These experiences may lead many transgender people to suffer with anxiety, depression, or related disorders at higher rates than non-transgender persons. According to the DSM-5, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, people who experience intense, persistent gender incongruence can be given the diagnosis of gender dysphoria. Some contend that the diagnosis inappropriately pathologizes gender noncongruence and should be eliminated. Others argue that it is essential to retain the diagnosis to ensure access to the International Classification of Disease is under revision, and there may be changes to its current classification of intense persistent gender incongruence as gender identity disorder. So again, not a mental illness. So I'm also going to read this other one from the American Psychological Association, because unlike you, I like to source the shit I say, because it's good to source. Let me see if I can find this other source. I need to fucking write these again. And I'll let you talk once I'm finished with this. But right now I'm not finished with this, so you can't talk. Here we go. It's common for TGNC people who have grown up in an unsupportive environment to express symptoms, characteristics with personality disorder. These are some things that happen. Per the APA, there are no studies indicating that psychiatric illness causes gender dysphoria as a consistent condition over time. Although delusions or unstable personality characteristics may manifest as intermittent thoughts of or feelings of gender incongruity, additionally, TGNC people can have other psychiatric disorders, just as anyone else that is not related to their gender variance. So again, per the American Psychological Association, gender dysphoria is not is not caused by any sort of psychiatric illness. It's not any of these things. So this was me citing sources for you, Patrick. I'm now going to ask you, if you disagree with these, to cite a source that refutes what I just said. That's the only thing I want to hear from you, is a citation refuting what I just said. Can you provide it? You're now unmuted.
You're trying to misunderstand what I'm trying to
Oh my
say
God,
to
you can't. Goodbye. Goodbye. I can't talk to someone that's that fucking stupid. Goodbye. So long. Farewell. Avita Sin. I cited you sources. You couldn't do it back. So long. Farewell. Avita Sin. Goodbye. Like the fuck, bro. If you are going to make a claim, fucking back it up with something. Don't just say, well, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. Nope. What you said was having gender dysphoria is a delusion. It is not. And I've backed that up with physical evidence specifically from scientific sources like the APA. Common sense without data to back it up is not common sense. And I need everyone to know this. If you ever are talking to someone who says it's just common sense and they can't back up shit they say with data, get them the fuck out of here. Dead ass, bro. And I'm not going to waste my time. Like, I'm not going to sit here and let you fucking preach for 10 minutes just so we can get to, like, here's the thing that I'm going to tell you guys as somebody who's been debating on the internet for fucking 5+ years at this point. I'm not going to waste my time listening to 10 minutes of you not providing me a source, right? It's just a waste of time. And it's so you can get up here and prophetize that trans people are bad or icky or blah, blah, blah. It's stupid. Because at the end of that 10-minute long tirade you're going to go on, all that's going to happen is I'm going to again ask you to cite your source. And you're not going to be able to do that. So why go through the 10 minutes just to get to you not citing your source? I cited my source. If you want my sources, it comes from the APA. They have a page entitled specifically Gender Dysphoria Diagnosis, and they talk about the diagnosis of gender dysphoria, where it comes from, what it means, blah, 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 blah. What's today? Sources for today are 10, 29. Like, I understand people who are anti-trans are unable to back this shit up with more than just, I feel it's yucky. That's it. That's all they're ever able to back this shit up with is, I feel it's bad. I don't like it. But that's stupid as fuck. It's the dumbest thing. We should not be basing our beliefs on, I think it's yucky. Like, it's so dumb. You know who doesn't operate that way? Normal people. I don't like it. I think it's bad. It's such a fucking boring. Appeal to common sense is fully a fallacy for a reason. No, exactly. Your ignorance is on full display with your foul language. Shut the fuck up, Adam. Fuck you, Adam. Suck dick, Adam. Lick taint, Adam. Go eat a pussy if you want, Adam. I don't know what you're into. Any of those three things. Like, fuck off. I don't give a fuck about language. God damn. Babies in the chat. How dare you use bad language? Jesus fucking Christ on a stick, dude. Like, this, it's so fucking stupid. I can't contend with the things you're saying on an intellectual level, so I'll just say you curse, so it's bad. It's bad because you cursed. You should never use a swear. Swearing is bad. Oh my God. When did I ever say man and woman has one definition? Fucking Christ. Ugly fucking cunt. When did I ever say that? God, I wish I lived in the UK where it was more acceptable to use the word cunt. Such a fun word. Also, boner. Boner is such a fun word. I don't know what it is. A boner. It just flies off the tongue really well. You used a no-no word. How dare you use a no-no word? How dare you use that no-no word? No words. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're gonna move on. Next up, we're gonna bring up Nick. Nick wants to talk about topic number 1: MAGA being a fascist movement. Nick, can I get your age and pronouns, please?
Hey, Jovan, did I pronounce it right? I just want to make sure I did.
You did.
Awesome. I'm 29 years old, and I go by he, him.
Okay. 1 second. All right, 29, he, him. Okay, Nick, you believe MAGA is not a fascist movement. You want me to clarify to you what?
I do believe it's very.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I want to premise the argument before we debate it. I believe that MAGA is definitely an authoritarian movement. It does take some, ideas from fascism, but I don't believe it's fully fascist. The reason being is because fascism is a centralized government that is used to suppress any sort of opposition. Now,
I
obviously,
disagree.
there is, both sides do oppress the other side of each other, whether it's on the right or the left. But, we don't see journalists, being, physically silenced, executed. Yes, they can get kicked out of the White House. That happens. But I don't think we can go as far to say it is fascist. Fascism also has examples of National Socialism that we've seen, for example, in Nazi Germany and, of course, during the Spain during the 1940s. But I will agree with you 100% that Trump, in this case, the MAGA movement, definitely has authoritarian values.
So I just want to preface this. When I talk about fascism, I typically use Umberto Eco's 14 points of clarification on what fascism is. I tend to not have like a direct definition, but I do agree in like the centralization of power, which I would say is being done by the MAGA movement. But I would say if you meet enough of those 14 traits, which I think that Donald Trump's MAGA movement absolutely does. If you meet enough of those 14 traits, I would label you as fascist. But like in a like broad nutshell, it's an ultra authoritarian
I would definitely agree with you. It's definitely authoritarian. Yeah.
Yeah, that centralizes power into a single person or group. And I think that again, they very much do this. And like I said, I feel like they meet those 14 characteristics really easily. You can fit those into MAGA like really easily.
We're going to find the 14 characteristics. Like, I'm actually curious to know a little more about it.
Yeah, just look up Umberto Eco. He has a list. I think it was Your Fascism is where the book that the list comes from. But if you just type in Umberto Eco 14 features of fascism, they'll come up. I can go through the 14 really quickly. It's cult of tradition, which is basically rejection of modernism in favor of like a past, typically a past that never actually existed. Rejection of modernism, like I said, which is point number 2. Cult of action
I
for
think I have it
action's
right
sake.
here.
Yeah, I'll finish reading it off just so people know. Disagreement is treason, which I would say disagreement. I would say if we have not reached that already, we're getting pretty close when you just listen to the way Donald Trump speaks about how like anyone who disagrees with him is a woke leftist who needs to be labeled as a terrorist.
Quote unquote
like,
fake news.
Well, not even that. He wants to label any major opposition as terrorist groups. And the only reason to do that is so you can eventually use the moniker of terrorism to imprison them.
Situation.
Yeah. Fear of difference, appeal to frustrated middle class, obsession with plot. Yeah.
So, let's see here. I think I'm seeing the right one, but one I'm reading is characteristics of the number 1, powerful and continuing expression of nationalism.
You're reading Lawrence Britt. So that's another person. You're reading Lawrence Britt's 14 characteristics, which I actually think MAGA meets those as well. You want Umberto Eco's. I actually just think Umberto Eco's characteristics are a bit more fine-toothed. Yeah, Umberto Eco. I mean, they meet.
Umberto Eco.
Yes, Umberto.
Okay.
Umberto.
I think, the cult of tradition, rejection of modernism, cult of action, disagreement of treason. That one, fear of difference.
Yep.
Appeal to the frustrated middle class. Okay. Oppositional plot. Life is permanent warfare. Okay. So, I got time to go over it if you do too. Just go over each point if that's cool. I don't know if you have anyone else on the line.
There are other people on the line. But yeah, I would just read through these, because if you read through these, you can connect them with basically every major tenet of MAGA. And if you want to really connect it, just pull up Project 2025, which we're full steam ahead. We've completed 48% of Project 2025 on like a federal level. And if you do that, you'll see that like, yeah, this is very clearly aligning with all 14 of these characteristics.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I will go ahead. I think I was wanting more clarification what you meant by it, but I definitely 100% agree with you for now that Trump and a MAGA is definitely also authoritarian. But to go as far as fascism, I told I'm going to read more about it and see and just come up to some conclusions. And if I have anything that I disagree with, I'll probably give you a call.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know how you can look at whether you're using Lawrence Britt's characteristics or Umberto Eco's characteristics or not. I don't know how you can look at MAGA and not like tie them to almost, if not all of them. And just a reminder, you don't need to meet all of them. You just need to meet enough that you would be considered a fascist. And one of the things I want to talk about is like, yes, I would agree that Donald Trump has not squashed opposition to the point where we can't voice opposition yet. That doesn't mean he doesn't A, want to, or B, is trying to make that a thing, right? Hitler didn't start out by making it so you couldn't criticize Hitler, right? That came later. Yeah, I actually love that. I actually like that Nick was like, yeah, I need to go and research this a little bit before I can have the conversation. And that's good. That's what you should do. All right, next up, we're going to bring up Taylor. Taylor believes that I'm actually wrong and that there are only two sexes and two genders and that it's not a social construct, but a biological reality. Let's find out if Taylor can substantiate these. Taylor, can I get your age and pronouns, please?
I am 20 years old, and for pronouns, you can just put he, him.
Okay, now, Taylor, you think I'm wrong about sex and gender. What specifically am I wrong about?
Well, I just have one main question for you. If a man can become a woman or identify as a woman, can a white man identify as a black man?
I love the red herring, but I'll answer the red herring. But I love it. Race
It
and
is
gender.
not a red herring.
It is. Race and gender are not social constructs built similarly. Gender would be an internal classification of the self based on brain structures, and furthermore, race is an external classification placed upon you by a legal system used and born from a system of oppression and hierarchy. So yeah, they're not remotely the same. So I don't know why I would say one person can be something just because someone can be the other. That'd be like saying, well, if love exists and hatred exists, could I say that like loving someone means I can hate them? Like, they're two social constructs that are not born the same. So no. Just like money is a social construct,
Okay,
but I can't come up here and say that my $1 bill is actually a $100 bill, right? It's not the same.
Well, yes, because that would defy reality.
Reality,
But
money is a social construct.
If wait, so you're saying if I have a $50 bill, it just doesn't exist?
Nope. I'm saying the value of money is socially constructed. The value of money doesn't exist. It only exists relative to the society or structures you're in. That inherently makes it a social construct.
Well,
If America
yes,
goes
but
away, if
on,
America
like, a
goes
gold
away
standard.
tomorrow, the value of gold would still be relative to the society you live in. Like, come on, bro. If America fell tomorrow, if all governments fell and all systems fell, and we were in fucking The Walking Dead, and you had a pound of gold, that gold is worthless. It has zero worth because the worth of any value placed on currency is determined by the society. My G, come on. You're better than this.
Okay, yes, that's correct. But okay, I'm not here to debate like money or capitalism or any of that. But if so, so you do agree that race is a social construct, correct?
Yes, race is a social construct. Yes, race only exists in relation to societies. Yep.
Okay, so then what is preventing a white man from identifying as a black man, or vice versa?
I already answered this when I answered the question the first time. Race is not an internal classification on how you feel on a fucking neurological level. Race is an external classification placed upon you legally based on shared ancestry and phenotypes that typically correlate to some history of hierarchy and oppression.
Okay, but why can't I, as a white man, feel like a black man?
I just answered
What is
that
preventing me from doing that?
Because there is no feeling like a black person. It's not a thing that exists. I'm black. I don't have some internal sense of being... Because it doesn't exist in our brains. What do you mean, why not? Why don't unicorns exist? Answer that question, and that'll be the exact same answer.
Because
how do I tell you why something doesn't exist? What?
Okay, so then if a white man can't identify as a black man, then why can a man identify as a woman?
So one, I don't believe men are identifying as women. I think women are identifying as women. And two, the reason why you can identify in relation to gender is because gender is an internal sense of self determined by the brain. We actually know that gender identity exists in our brain. There is a gender identity that exists inside of human brains. And that gender identity is an internal critique of the self. It's an internal subconscious critique of the way your sex is oriented in your body. We don't have this same mental process when it comes to race.
Okay, can you have this mental process when it comes to species?
No,
so
because that would because that would be outside of the human qualia.
Okay,
you can just to give you a more concrete answer, just because I know it'll just stave off future conversation. You can identify with traits of other things. Like you can say, hey, I empathize or identify with the way these things do X, Y, or Z, but qualia, which talks about the way creatures experience things, you can't actually experience that qualia. Gender, you can experience the qualia of another gender. Like it's a thing in psychology. Like I can say that I empathize or identify with certain features or cats, but I'm typically going to then humanize cats, right? I'm humanizing them so that I can align with these traits. So yeah, this is why you can't identify outside of your species.
Wait. So
I'd also just say species isn't an identity.
You're saying that a man can. So you're saying that a man can do the same things that a female can. So can a man give birth?
Nope, didn't say they can do. I said that you can when you're identifying with something, what it is when we're talking about like qualia is whether or not you can experience life in the way that this thing experiences life. Now, there's a larger conversation about how like species are biological realities based upon shared family traits, and so you can't really identify with values shared upon family traits like biologically. But this is why like you're saying, well, can a man give birth? Some men can, because giving birth is a feature of being female, not a feature of being a man or a woman. And not all people that are female can even give birth. So if I have somebody who's female and can't give birth, are they automatically now not a woman or not female? No, that would be ridiculous.
No, a woman is someone who can produce small gametes or large gametes.
Well, that would be a feature of female, not woman. Because plenty of creatures produce large gametes, not just like humans. So saying that a woman is just anything that produces large gametes would mean that dogs
are a human being that produces large gametes.
Yep. So
that's a woman.
So you add a social well, not all human beings that produce large gametes are women, but now you add a social qualifier to it, which is the human side, which is where gender becomes a socially constructed thing, is because it only exists amongst human societies. It's not like a universal trait of nature that gender exists. Gender is specific to the way humans engage with each other. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll make this clear. So then, if race is this anything that is constructed on the outside, then
Externally.
isn't the same thing true of gender? Because
No.
you have genitalia, you
That's
have
sex.
your, well, I guess genitalia is really the big one.
That's sex. Genitalia is a sexual feature, not a gendered feature. It just so happens that what typically we see in humans is that humans' genders typically tend to align with those sexual features, but some humans don't. Genitalia, internal or external genitalia, are a feature of sex. Specifically, they're phenotypic features of sex.
Okay. Okay, kind of off topic, but one other question for you. Would you date a trans woman
Is she thick?
or a trans man if you're gay?
Is she thick?
What?
Is she thick?
Sure.
Then why not?
If
she's thick, I mean, I might say probably not if she has a penis because I'm just not really into penises, but if she's thick, possibly. Probably not if she has a penis, but if she's thick and without a penis, why the fuck not? Who cares? I don't really care. But like, what does me dating them have to do with anything of the conversation?
Do you want to like have kids or anything?
No. Like biological kids? No. No, I don't.
Why not?
I just have never wanted to like spawn an offspring.
Oh.
Not something I care about.
Okay, well, that's your choice. You're probably going to be lonely and miserable, but
How does
you
that
do
make
you.
me lonely? Because I don't have kids? Well, I have kids, but I don't want like to have. I don't want like biological kids. How does that make me like lonely? Like what? Like I have no issue with possibly
When-
adopting or fostering or things like that. Like I have a child, right? But like I just don't want to have any more children in my life or things like that. Like who cares? What does that matter?
Okay, well, I support you having
What?
adopted children. I think that's good because we have a lot of kids in the adoption system that
What does
need
this have to do with
a
anything? though?
home.
I'm so confused how this relates to the conversation that we were having.
It doesn't really have to do with anything. It's just
Okay.
I was just curious about whether or not you would date a biological man despite being not gay.
Biological man is a term that doesn't exist. There is no man in biology. There's male.
Okay, a biological male.
Yeah, who cares? Like would I date somebody who's biologically male? Sure. What the fuck? Who cares? But what does it matter if I would or wouldn't? It doesn't mean
Because
anything.
then you would be gay.
Not if I'm dating a woman, I wouldn't be.
But you're not dating a woman, you're dating a man.
Male? You said male. Males can be women. This is the
Male,
problem.
man.
This is the problem
it's
with what's
essentially the
happening.
same thing.
You essentially want to skip over the actual conversation, which is are trans men and women, and you consistently conflate gender and sex. I don't conflate gender with sex. I know that they are not the same thing, right? Gender and sex are not the same. They have an alignment.
Okay, and just
they have a
because
connection.
you're wrong about something.
You want to bet? Define. Okay, let's prove if I'm wrong. Give me a functioning definition for sex and then a functioning definition for gender.
A functioning definition of sex would be just the way that you're born, not well, no, it would be about the gametes that you produce. So males produce small gametes and females produce large gametes.
That's not telling me what sex is. I'm
And
asking for a fundamental
gender
definition. Hold on. When I'm asking for a fundamental like a functioning definition, a definition needs to be used to explain the concept. You didn't explain to me what sex is. What is sex?
Why do I? You already know what sex is. Why do I need to explain it to you?
Because you're saying that I'm wrong about this, but I don't think you could even functionally define sex and gender, right? So you're presupposing that I'm incorrect here, but I don't think you have an actual idea of what sex is or what gender is, especially in relation to how humans use the concepts, right? So if you think I'm wrong,
I can define it just fine.
So then do it.
Just say I'm wrong.
So then do it. Give me a functional definition of sex.
I just did.
No, you didn't define what the concept, a definition. If I said, hey, what's a car? And you just said something with four wheels, that doesn't tell me what the fuck a car is. right? That doesn't
That's-
tell me what
that's
this is. I'm asking. That's what you did. You said. I said, what is sex? You said, well, it's about the gametes you produce. Small being man, large being female. Like small being male, large being female. That doesn't tell me. Like if I said, what's a fucking automobile, and you said, well, you can have a six wheel is a truck and a 4 wheel is a car. You're not telling me what an automobile is. I want a functioning definition of the concept of sex, and then a functioning definition of the concept of gender, so we can analyze whether these two things in your mind are the exact same thing. We've already proved they're not, but we can dive it down even further if you want to.
Okay, so the definition of sex would be was how do you define sex?
And this is what I'm saying. You said I was wrong, but you can't even define the concept, which is just like.
Well, yes, I know you're wrong. I just don't know how to explain it.
You know you're wrong, but can't articulate why you're right.
Okay, sex is defined as either of the two divisions designated male and female by which organisms are classified based on the basis of their reproductive organs and functions.
Great, and now give me a functioning definition of gender.
Well, gender is based on sex.
That's not a definition of the concept of gender. Just saying gender is based on sex. Driving is based on a car, but I didn't tell you what driving is when I define it that way. I'll give you time to type it into Google like you just did. Then you should be able to give me a functioning definition of gender.
There is no difference between gender and sex.
Okay, are all females women?
All human females.
Then there is a
Over
fucking
the age of
difference.
18,
And there
yeah.
is a fucking difference between gender and sex. Because sex doesn't equate to gender. So provide a functioning definition of gender. You just said they're the same thing, and now we're saying that if I have a sex category, it doesn't automatically mean I have a gender category. So now give a functioning definition for gender.
They are functionally the same thing.
No, but functionally being the same thing and being the same thing are two different things entirely. Right? So I could say a car and motorcycle as driving vehicles will get me somewhere. They're functionally the same thing, but they have vast numbers of differences. So give me a functioning definition of gender. You can have time to Google it. I don't mind if you want to Google the definition like you did with sex, as long as you're saying this is a definition that you use and we can analyze it from there.
Okay, according to Google, it is either of the two divisions designated female and male by which most organisms are classified based on their reproductive organs and sex, otherwise known as sex.
That is,
it is the same definition.
Okay. Where are you getting that definition of gender from?
I just put it into DuckDuckGo.
Okay, you just put it into DuckDuckGo. Wonderful. So, say the definition one more time.
Either of the two divisions designated female and male by which most organisms are classified based on the basis of their reproductive organs and functions.
Great. Per that definition,
otherwise
female dogs are women.
Sex.
Per that definition, female dogs are women. Per that definition, a female ant is a woman.
Definition is leaving out the word human.
So yes, based upon that definition, gender is not a human-specific thing. So female dogs are women, female cats are women, a female shark is a woman, per that definition.
Well, they're women of that species, but they are not
other
human
species
women.
Have women, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, they are that species equivalent of a woman.
I'm sorry, what was the definition of woman you told me? You said it's an adult human. So a woman can't be in another species.
An adult human who is capable or has the natural capacity of producing ova.
Woman can't exist in other species because a function of being a woman is being human. So no, there can't be women dogs because that they wouldn't be human. Right? A functioning part of being a woman. No. I'm asking you right? You're saying that gender and sex are the same per your definitions. Gender has nothing to do with being human. So the gender category of woman would apply to any creature that is female per the definition of gender you used. But it disagrees with your definition of woman. So try again, because we've just come to the conclusion that your definition of gender is an illogical one based on your definition of woman. So which one is incorrect? Is it your definition of gender or your definition of woman?
Well, under those, I guess maybe the definition of gender would be incorrect.
Okay, so let's analyze this.
My definition of woman is not incorrect.
Great. So let's analyze this. How should gender be defined? If it can't just be defined as the two sex categories, right? Because that makes it illogical. One, I would say this means gender and sex are not the same, right? Because you can't just define gender and sex the same. So, what is a functioning definition of gender that is able to differentiate from sex in a way that makes it so female dogs aren't women?
All right, there's another definition here on Google that's a grammatical category, often designated as male, female, or neutral, used in the classification of nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs that may be
that's
arbitrary.
more talking about, yeah, that's talking about gendered language, right? Not all languages have like gender specific stuff. I'm more talking about the concept of gender in a broader like societal sense.
Or based on characteristics such as sex. That's another part of the definition.
Yeah, that would just put us again to female dogs being women. If it's just that it's based on the characteristics of sex,
dogs are not women.
Then we know that gender is not just, I won't say that there isn't some linking of gender and sex, and we don't refer to sex sometimes when talking about gender. But what I'm saying is, if gender just boils down to the features of sex, then all females would be women in that regard. Because woman is a gender term, which I think you would agree with, whereas female is a sex term. At least I hope you would agree with that.
I guess, sure.
Okay. So then let me just, to save us some time, let me just walk you through where we are right now. We recognize that when it comes to gender things are very specific to humans. Now, because they are specific to humans in human society, and they are not some biological universal trait of the world, they are indeed a social construct. They're something socially constructed. They're not something, gender is not something that's like, that exists in DNA, because if it existed in DNA, it would exist in all females or all males. It is specific to humans because we have now there are some arguments that some animals have gender roles or groups. We just don't know because we can't communicate with them in that way. So we can't really know for sure. But we know because we can communicate that gender is something that is socially and culturally determined, right? There's a reason why some cultures had more than just two gender categories you could fall into, right? Because it is—
Which cultures?
The Hebrew culture in the Talmud has 7 or 8 gender categories. There are Polynesian cultures like that had like Fa'afafine, or I don't remember what the other one is. I'll have to look them up and add them to the new source document. Indigenous tribes have three spirit, which is a third gender category for people that don't fit into their man and woman categories. Other cultures have other gender designations.
I don't know about the Hebrew culture or the Polynesian thing, but I do know about the indigenous tribes thing. So that actually was made up in 1990 by a woman who said the concept came to her in a dream.
No, the term two-spirit was absolutely, but like the practice had existed for years. It goes like, you can even see it when you look at the spoken record of indigenous tribes. The practice of two-spirit. Yeah, I don't know why I said third spirit, chat. I don't know. But the practice of two-spirit, it goes back so much further than the 90s. It goes back to ancient indigenous tribes. It's just we added the word two-spirit.
Which tribes?
Sure. Let me pull that up.
Okay, while you're pulling that up, I have the Oxford English Dictionary definition of woman, an adult female human being, the counterpart of man.
Sure. What's your point?
So the Oxford English Dictionary, one of the most trusted English sources in the world, says that you are wrong.
Well, okay. I don't think you know how dictionaries work. Dictionaries aren't prescriptive. So the dictionary saying that how you define a word is not saying that this is how a word must be defined. It's saying this is how the word is currently used colloquially. Oxford very much tells people all the time it's a descriptive dictionary, not a prescriptive dictionary. It just describes how we tend to use words. And I would agree that most people tend to use the word woman using that definition. I would agree with that. That's how most people tend to use the word. Doesn't label a point of correctness. That's why when I asked you for a definition, I didn't ask you for the dictionary one. I said, what is a functioning definition for this term based on the way you use it?
Okay. What other arguments can I make?
But either way, even you giving the definition of woman still doesn't like address where the contention lies here, in that you're conflating gender and sex to be the same thing. So some tribes that have a history of two-spirit separate of the term, like prior to the term, it'd be the Lakota tribes, the Zuni tribes, the Navajo, the Ojibwe tribes, the Cheyenne tribes, the Mojave tribes, like all these tribes documented well before the 1990s had examples of two-spirit as a gender category. They just didn't have the word two-spirit. What two-spirit as a word did is what it did is it said, hey, all these tribes have different third gender categories. Let's give an umbrella term to all of them, so we don't have to have individual, like a million individual terms to describe how these tribes acted. We just can give an umbrella term that describes it all.
Okay. I really don't know that much about the whole two-spirit thing, so I'm not going to try to debate that with you. But clearly I have not convinced you. You have not convinced me either, but
wait, hold on. I don't care that I haven't convinced you. You have not been able to parlay any sort of argument that logically fits. So yeah, you can say we're going to agree to disagree, but like you haven't been able to give a logical argument. So like you're just disagreeing because it hurts your feelings, not because you have an argument against what I've been saying. You agreed that your definition of woman was incongruent with your definition of gender. You agreed that the definition of gender can't just be the same definition of sex. You agreed with all these things. And now you're, well, but you haven't changed my mind. Okay, great. But you haven't been able to articulate a good argument for why your mind should remain the way it is.
I'm not, whatever. Okay. Clearly we're not going to be able to convince each other. So,
you haven't given an argument.
Democrats...
You can convince me if you give a logical argument that makes sense, but you haven't. Come on, we have to be honest in this conversation.
Okay, completely different subject, but do you still believe that the Republicans are the ones causing the government shutdown?
Yes, because Republicans are the one who have the power to negotiate. Like, if Republicans want the government not to be shut down, if they want the Democrats to vote with them, they have to negotiate. They refuse to negotiate, therefore the government is shut down because they don't have the votes they need. If their bill was so great, they would have the votes they need, but they don't. They just want to bypass the Democrats. There wasn't a single there was almost zero single policies put through by Joe Biden in which the Democrats didn't accept Republican opposition and accept Republicans' consolidation bills. The Republicans are refusing to. So yes, it is their fault the government is shut down. They could come to the table. Mike Johnson could come to the table and meet with the Democrats and come up with, and and especially if they were just like, hey, we're going to extend the ACA subsidies, the Democrats would be like, oh great, bada bing, bada boom. I don't know why any of this is. I don't know why we're moving the topics, but yes, it's the government's fault for the shutdown.
Okay, so then why are all of the Republicans voting to reopen the government?
Because a vote to reopen the government.
The Democrats are voting no.
Wait, no. The Democrats aren't voting no to reopen the government. They're voting on the conciliation. And the Democrats don't want to lose the ACA subsidies. The Republicans want to get rid of them. I'll give you a direct example. If the ACA subsidies go away, my health insurance will go from costing me about $280 a month to damn near $2,000 a month because I will not have access to the marketplace anymore, the government marketplace for health insurance. I think this is a bad thing for millions of Americans. So Democrats want to stop this from happening. And again, it's not just about voting to reopen the government. In order to reopen the government, they have to come to a concession on the budget. Like we can't just go into the next budget, into the next quarter without the budget being approved and consolidated. So if Republicans want to get the budget passed, they have to meet with the Democrats and work together because they don't have enough votes to get it passed without the Democrats.
Okay, and that same standard applies to the Democrats. The Democrats can also negotiate.
What is there to the Democrats are the ones trying to negotiate. They're saying we want to make sure these subsidies still exist. The current budget gets rid of the subsidies are expiring, and the current budget does not approve the reallocation of these subsidies. We're trying to negotiate those into terms, and the Republicans are saying, no, we want these subsidies to go away. This is a bad thing for millions of Americans. What should the Democrats just say? Yes, fuck Americans' health insurance?
No. The health insurance thing I can understand. I can get behind the health insurance thing, but things like Section 8 housing or like food stamps or stuff like that, I don't.
Food stamps are already
the
Democrats aren't pushing for a push on food stamps. They already lost that portion. The bill is going to remove food stamp funding. It's going to remove, I think it's $480 billion from food stamps, which is terrible because almost half of the people who receive food stamps are fucking kids. They're people under the age of 18. Now we're just taking food out of their mouths, but whatever. The thing the Democrats are fighting for... So then
their parents can feed them.
Their parents get food stamps because they don't make enough to cover groceries and all of their other bills. But fuck those kids, am I right? It's the best way to go. Fuck them.
Firstly, there are other things other than food stamps.
Like what?
There is churches. There is...
Don't have the resources to feed
churches,
everybody.
There's food banks.
Don't have the resources to feed
all this
everybody.
Other stuff.
Food banks don't have the resources to feed every single person. Churches don't have the resources to feed every single person.
Sometimes do.
No, they don't. There's not a single food bank in the country that has the resources to feed everybody in the communities that they operate. There's not a single one. SNAP benefits are there to help people who need help. That's why the majority of people on SNAP benefits are working. Or the majority of people over 18 that are on SNAP benefits have jobs. They're paying into the system. Why should they not be able to use that system?
Because it's supposed to be a safety net, not a hammock.
It's not a hammock. If they're working jobs already, what percentage of people receiving SNAP benefits are unemployed? Do you know the answer to that question?
Not off the top of my head. I can.
What would you guess it is?
Probably like 20%.
You're so off. It's not even funny. You're not even close.
Okay, so what is it?
55%. 55% of SNAP households that have children in them have somebody in the house working. 55%.
So then 45% of people aren't working?
They might
That are
not
on
be
food
earning.
stamps?
They might not be earning an income. Yes, but again, if we're looking at right, if we're looking at SNAP as a program, SNAP is entirely beneficial. Why should people who don't have the ability to earn an income not get help? Especially when we know that when it comes to welfare, the majority of people who access welfare benefits, whether it be from unemployment or whatever, end up employed within a year's time. You're saying it's like this handout. It's not a handout.
Okay.
It's help.
Okay. And that is a good thing. So after they are employed, they should get off food stamps.
Most
because they
do.
now
Most
have
of the
money
people.
to
Most of the
pay
people who
for
go on
themselves.
welfare, it's temporary until they find employment. But this is such a what you think it's okay that we remove?
Okay, and
food
yes,
from
that's
kids'
exactly
mouths
what
and
it's
shit? What the fuck?
intended for. But there are so many people that aren't using it for that. There are so many people that are
No,
just
there's not.
sitting there.
No, there isn't. What percentage
Yes,
of
there
people
are.
on SNAP do you think are disabled?
Well, I would prefer it to be most of them.
Mm-hmm.
And just because they're not disabled doesn't mean they can't sit there. I have seen multiple people that are just sitting there for no reason just
I
because
don't
they
care
don't
what
want to
you've
lose their
seen,
government
right?
benefits.
What you have seen is not indicative of the numbers as a whole. You know that, right? Like what you've
that's
seen
called
is
anecdotal evidence.
yes. So that's all you're doing is anecdotal evidence. 19% of people who are on SNAP are over the age of 60, so they're probably not working anyway, and they're using SNAP as a supplement to their retirement because we don't even give them retirement even retirement isn't. Social Security isn't funded properly. 39% of SNAP recipients are literal children, right? People under the age of 18. 79% of households that receive SNAP have either a child or elderly individual in it. So it's not even like SNAP is being used because of the person working. It's because there are people who need the extra help. Like, come on, man. If it were up to me,
Okay,
I would get rid of
if they
SNAP and just
genuinely
give
need
everybody
the
food.
extra help, then I have no problem with that.
But they do. 73% of people who are on SNAP benefits, their gross monthly income is below the federal poverty level. 73%. They're on SNAP because they are in poverty. They're in abject poverty. So they're on SNAP.
So then get a second job.
Yes, that's so. Oh my God. Why didn't they think of that? Why didn't they think of that? What the fuck? Holy shit. Holy shit. Why didn't I think of just get a second job? How much of your yearly tax income goes to SNAP? Do you know?
I do not know, but I didn't really pay that much in taxes last year because I barely made anything.
Holy shit.
And yet I'm not on food stamps.
Holy shit. My God. No fucking way. What?
Are you triggered yet?
Triggered? No, I just think you're kind of stupid. Like you're literally arguing from your.
You seem pretty triggered, my guy.
What the fuck are you talking about? You're arguing from bias, dude. Like it's not my fault you're making lazy arguments that comes from your own internal biases. If you want to call that triggered, call that triggered. You're just being more lazy in the arguments. Like what? God damn, dude. Can you make an argument that's not from a level of bias or no? Is that impossible for you? Because you did that during the trans conversation too.
Well, considering I've never been on food stamps, maybe not. But I do have friends who are on food stamps.
There we go. There we go. You can't do it.
Okay, well, I do have other stuff to do today, so I do have to go. But
That's
this
fine.
was a good debate. I really enjoyed this.
A good one is not a word I would use, but it was definitely a debate. Have a day. All right. fucking Christ, dude. Like, what the fuck, bro? Come on, dude. Thank you guys for the super chats. We are going to answer all the super chats at the end of stream. So get those super chats in if you want me to read your super chats at the end. That's what we will do. God damn, dude. Fuck them kids is the entire argument for defunding Snap. It's all down to fuck them kids. I have like another hour I can stream. So if you want to still debate, call-in lines are open. Still open for like another hour or so. Mila, we've had this conversation 100 times. I'm sorry, I'm not having it again. Like I've had this conversation with you 100 times. You know what I mean when I say male and female. You know what I mean when I describe sex. You know what I mean. You know the answers to these things. So I'm sorry, I'm not having the conversation again for the millionth time. Goddamn. Goddamn. One of their arguments is think of the kids. No, dead ass, dude. Also, if it were me, I think even if we're going to say we don't believe there should be like universal food, right? I think at the very least, we should all agree that anyone between the ages of 0 and 18 should be fed. 0 point blank, whether their parents can afford it or not. Like if I was going to implement a policy that wasn't feed everybody, it would be every household with somebody in that household aged 0 to 18 would receive a monthly budget to buy food for the person 0 to 18. They would receive a food card that can work at any grocery store in the country on food items, any food item. I'm not stipulating that will cover as soon as a child is born until they are 18. They have food covered for them. Every single child in America should be fed. Period. Point blank. If you don't agree with that, I don't know how the fuck you go through life. At the very, and that's just me saying at the very least. Like that's me. Shit, I didn't end the recording. That's me like granting you a bunch of other shit, right? But as like a slow incrementing, that would be like a first level policy I put through. I don't know how much that would cost. Let's try to do some math. Let's try to do some math real quick. I want to see if we can't come up with a number. How many households in the US have a child under 18? 39% of US households have a child under 18. That's about 32.7 million families. 32.7 million, give or take. How much does it cost to feed a child per month? Let's just get an average of there. Between 98 to 327 per month. So let's just say 300 as a baseline. We're probably looking at around 40 billion a year. give or take 40 billion a year. I think that's worth it. I think we could take 40 billion out of the military budget and feed every child. So one Argentina. Mods, can we make sure we get the actual Nazi in the chat out of here, please? I don't know if you already did it already. I wasn't looking. Okay, yeah. Winnie got it. Is that accurate? 40 billion? So if we have 300 per month, $300 per month. Let me try to do some math here. 300 per month times that by 12 is 3,600 per month per child. How many children are in the U.S.? 72.5 million. So let's say 30 times, I think that number is off the 40 billion, but let's see. 3,600 times 72.5, or 72 million. 72.5. 261 billion is what this is saying, but like, I don't know that's accurate. It could also be on a sliding scale, like, right? Obviously, babies don't need as much, but I would probably give a budget to babies differently. 200. This is saying this math would lead me to like 261 billion. Still, I would take 261 billion out not all those children are in school age. True, and you'd have to look at like school age kids would change. There would be a lot more to factor into this, but yeah, I just think it's a system that like it's worth it. I think it's worth it overall for the money that it is. So like I would say take 300 billion out of the operating budget of the military, and there you go. Well, formula being expensive doesn't need to be. Formula is expensive because they can charge for formula to be expensive, right? Like what's the wholesale price? The typical wholesale price of baby formula. Is wholesale what I want to look at? No. I want to know what the price is to make. I want to look at the price to make the production cost of baby formula versus the sales price. I don't know that we have that information though. But I think stuff like there are certain products that I think we should just create on the national level, that we stop like baby formula. We should just create that on a national, like we should nationalize baby formula, so that way it can never get sold for a profit. And if it does get sold for a profit, it's like pennies. Someone said typical Dem throwing money at every problem thinking that will solve it. Motherfucker, I'm talking about making sure babies don't go hungry. You absolute disgusting piece of shit. Not to virtue signal, but fuck you. Yes, I would throw money if it meant babies aren't going hungry. You terrible human being. Fuck, dude. What the fuck, bro? Look up profit margin on baby formula. Profit margin on baby formula vary by company, but studies show them to be between approximately 14% and 30% for major manufacturing. That doesn't mean anything to me. I need to see the actual price on that. Like, again, dude, even if you want to throw everything else I talk about out of the water, you think we shouldn't feed babies? That's what I'm saying here, is we should feed children. Children didn't ask to be here. Like, what? Any child that's hungry is bad, and we should do something to make sure children don't go hungry. That's my entire take. That's the whole take. We should do everything in our power to make sure children don't go hungry. Everything. I would pull out no stops. Starving Americans to own the libs, crazy. Should we feed children by giving their parents the tools to feed the children, or just feed them directly? I say feed them directly until we can address systemic poverty. Oh my God, Alyssa, thank you so much for the Venmo. Said, here's $1 for every brain cell I lost to the last caller, and I didn't even see you sent one on PayPal too. Thank you so much, friend. Yeah, I'm going fucking crazy today with the amount of brain cells I've lost. Bro, they don't even think we should fund school lunches. All right. Up on stream is Jack. Now, Jack says that woman and female are synonymous terms and that I'm being redundant by saying trans woman or woman. I don't think Jack knows what the word redundant means, but we'll find out. Jack, can you let me know your age and pronouns, please?
Yeah, 31 and pronouns, he, him.
Okay, now, Jack, do you know what redundant means?
Yeah, not or no longer needed or useful.
No, redundant means repetitive.
Superfluous.
No, it means repetitive.
I'm just reading off the definition.
Yeah, it's unnecessary because it's like repetitive.
Yeah. What's wrong with my definition?
How am I being repetitive by saying that trans women are women? If you don't think woman, if you think woman and female is synonymous, how am I being? I would particularly not be being redundant.
No, well, redundant, the definition of redundant is no, or is not, or no longer needed or useful.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying that
there's not,
calling trans women is no longer needed or it's not useful.
Why is it not useful?
It doesn't help anybody.
Who doesn't it help?
Because a trans woman is a biological man, and a biological man
is not
cannot be a woman. Because
biological man is not a term. Man is not a function of biology.
I'm sorry, a male.
Sure.
I'm not
talking about biology when I say trans women or women. So what does that matter? How would that be redundant? If I'm not talking about biology.
So what is the definition of woman?
An adult human.
What is the definition of woman?
An adult human whose gender identity aligns with their schema on the female sex.
Where are you getting that definition from?
My friend Katie created the definition. I use the definition because it aligns. Are you going to listen, or are you going to giggle to yourself like a schoolgirl? I use the definition because
you made a joke. That was a funny thing to say.
Wasn't a joke.
You made a joke. I'm allowed to laugh.
Wasn't a joke.
Your friend Katie made the term, so you're
she took
trying to base reality off of your friend's subjective term.
Are you stupid? Can you tell me a single definition that's not subjective? You fucking moron. Can you do that to me? What definition isn't subjective, dumbass? Exactly.
Chair.
Thanks.
Blue.
The definition of chair is subjective. Every definition is subjective.
Female,
you fucking moron.
Female.
Definitions by nature are subjective.
No. Definitions
Yes. No, definitions by nature. Definitions by nature are subjective. You moron.
Oh my God, you're getting pushed a little bit.
No, you're just an idiot. Definitions by nature are subjective. That's how definitions work. No, you're just dumb. No, shut up. All definitions.
What are you talking about?
Oh my god.
What is a number?
You fucking moron.
What is a number?
You fuck. Oh my god, you're stupid.
What is a number?
Jack.
Jack. If you can't follow along with what I'm saying,
Jack.
then
Jack.
what is the point of it?
Jack.
I'm making good points.
Jack. All definitions, just like all language, is subjective. They are not objective qualities of the universe. Subjective means they're mind dependent. All language is mind dependent. Yes, it requires a mind. So that's what subjective means. Objective means it would be a physical property of the universe. Language is not a physical property of the universe.
Subjective means based on or influenced by personal feelings, taste,
that is mind dependent, you fucking moron. Fuck! You're so dumb. That's what mind dependent means. Shut the fuck up. That's what mind dependent means, you fucking idiot. It's based on a mind. It is not a physical property of the universe. This is what objective and subjective means. Language is not objective. It is a subjective thing. Definitions come after the word as a way to describe how the word tends to be used. This is why definitions have changed for words over time. Sorry, Jack, I'm on a short fuse today, and you trying to sit here and tell me definitions are objective is making me crash out because it's fucking stupid. Jesus Christ, bro. There is not a single linguist on the planet that would take you seriously if you went up to them. Fucking Christ, definitions change all the time.
Definitions are not subjective to change.
Definitions change constantly, you moron.
No, definitions are what reality is. The terms
you idiot.
Change.
No, you idiot. The definitions change.
Yes, that's what language
is. You moron.
Language
definitions change. You fucking stupid.
The way we define
definitions
things
change.
Depends on where you grew up and what time period you live in.
That's subjective, you fucking moron. Oh my god, dude.
No,
dude,
definitions of words.
Holy shit, chat. Holy shit, chat. Oh my god, bro just said the definitions change based on where you're born and the society you grew up in. That's subjective, you fucking idiot. Fuck, dude. I know I'm on a short fuse today. I know I'm crashing out this soon, but this is the dumbest shit I've heard all day. This is worse than the last guy. What the fuck? Just Google our definition subjective, bro. That's all I want you to do, Jack. Just Google the phrase, our definition subjective. Please. On God, please.
I did.
Please, and what did it say?
No, language itself is a subjective system, but it can be used to communicate objectively by focusing on verifiable facts and avoiding personal opinions, emotions, and bias.
God damn. Do definitions change, Jack?
I just gave you what you asked for. I don't understand why you won't engage with this.
Wait, and what you said was definitions, language, what you said was...
And I did, and it supports both of what we're saying.
No, it doesn't. If you think it supports both of what we're saying, you aren't reading correctly. It's saying that definitions, language itself is subjective, but based on like the society you're in, there might be some objectivity to the words you're using. But unfortunately, that has absolutely zero to do with your argument and actually fundamentally flaws your argument. There is no objectiveness to the word woman or the word or any of these words that you're talking about. The only time you tend to have an objective definition if you have something that's like a medical procedure. The definition of that medical procedure has to be objective because you're instructing people on a procedure to do. This doesn't work with language, especially out of dictionaries. Like fucking Oxford itself is a subjective dictionary. It's a descriptive. Definitions inherently are descriptive. They don't prescribe how you must use words. They just describe how words tend to be used, Jack. Fuck, dude.
Language can be objective. It has to be in certain avenues.
No, it can't.
It has to be.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it can. What are you talking about?
No, it doesn't.
Language needs to be objective.
No, it doesn't.
In certain regards. Yes.
What regards?
Of course,
what regards?
Terms.
What regards?
Terms for words. Water. What is water? It's a collection of hydrogen and oxygen molecules. What is subjective about that?
What is subjective about that?
The way we define water, maybe the word water can change, but the fact that water is what matters.
Yeah, let's do.
Wait.
Hold on. Let's say, great, awesome. Let's say water as we know it, H2O, right? It's two hydrogens, one oxygen. It's about the chemical compound water. I don't mind that this scientific definition has like an objective universal trait it's pointing to. That doesn't mean the definition is objective. It means what it's pointing to is an objective trait of the universe. That's what that means. It is pointing to. Now, if we live into a society,
can be objective.
I agree that some point to objective facts of the universe. That doesn't make them in turn subjective.
You're doing mental gymnastics. Come on.
I'm not doing mental gymnastics.
Talking. Like you're doing mental gymnastics.
Fucking dude, I'm critically thinking about this.
You
shit.
totally are.
God, can you use critical thought for more than 5 seconds?
I did. I got you here. You were trying to tell me that all language is subjective. So now you're agreeing
language
that yes, some language can be objective.
No, the language may be.
You're the one doing some critical
the
thinking.
language is pointing to something objective, but the language itself is still subjective because it's subjective to the people that are using it. Just because it points to something objective in the physical universe doesn't mean that the language itself is not objective. If we as a people decide collectively that we're going to call something else water, and that just catches on, and all of a sudden H2O is no longer called water, and we change the definition of water, that would still be correct based on our usage, our combined cultural understanding usage of it.
Correct.
God, Jack. So then it is subjective, dude.
Dude, you're getting to where I was 5 minutes ago.
Holy shit, dude.
You're helping me get to my point. I don't you haven't even tried to understand a single thing I'm saying. You're telling me to look up definitions, and then I'm telling you the definitions of things, and then you're disagreeing with those definitions, saying that these definitions are all definitions are subjective.
The definition itself
is subjective. Do you want to keep going, or am I fucking you up? Come on.
Dude, you couldn't fuck up a fucking inflatable sex toy. What I'm trying to point to you here, is the fact that the definition is still subjective, even though it points to some objective trait of the universe, right? When the definition of water,
and my whole point was that trying to change the term of woman is redundant. Trying to change
woman
the term
is not
woman
some
is
universal trait of the universe.
What this community is.
Woman is not a universal trait. It's not an objective trait of the universe. Woman is a social thing.
There's already a better way to define. There's already a better way to define trans woman. That's my whole argument.
There is. Wait. I'm not defining trans woman.
It's feminine.
What's your definition of woman? Is your definition of woman cohesive?
A female adult human being.
Great. I think this is a functionally...
That is what the current definition...
I didn't ask the current. I said, what do you think is the best definition of woman? You gave a definition that I think is not comprehensive enough for us to say it's the best definition. I think your definition of woman is fundamentally lacking.
It's synonymous with the term female.
It's not synonymous with the term.
It doesn't have
it's not a synonym.
It is.
No, it isn't.
It has the word female.
That doesn't make it a synonym. That doesn't make it a synonym. No. Synonymous means it means the same thing. It doesn't mean the same thing because the definition of woman is pointing predominantly. No, it doesn't. The definition of woman is pointing predominantly to
human being.
No, the definition of woman is predominantly pointing to the fact that it's a human. Human is the subject of that definition. Female, as a definition, does not predominantly point to humans.
So
they're two different things. Fucking Christ.
The word female comes up just as many times as the word human.
No,
you can't just point more at the word human and say,
holy fuck, dude. Human is the noun. Human is the noun there. Human is the noun. What the fuck, dude?
Female's a noun.
No, it isn't.
Female is a noun.
Female is not a noun.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, dude.
No, it's not. Female is an adjective in the way that you're using it in the definition of woman. It's describing a type of human.
It can be an adjective and it can be an adjective.
In the context of the definition you provided, it is working as an adjective to describe types of humans. Human is the noun in that sentence, not female. Fuck, dude.
Okay. So then what is the noun in woman?
My God.
So then what is the noun in woman?
In the definition of woman that you gave, the noun would be human. Fuck me, dude.
No, what's your definition?
What are you talking about? It would be human as well. What the fuck, dude?
What is your definition of your definition of woman is human female?
No, it's an adult human whose gender identity aligns with their personal schema on the female sex. You asked me this at like the start of the conversation. What the fuck, dude?
No,
there's no fucking way.
Roll the tape.
You have already asked me. what my definition of woman was in this conversation. You just don't listen.
No, I did not.
Okay, Jack, bet me $20 right
going
now.
Off of your,
No, Jack, stop.
So
bet
what?
me Jack, stop. Bet me $20. Bet me $20 that you didn't ask me already my definition of woman.
$20. I'll super chat you $20.
Okay, so you agreed that if I prove that you asked me already for my definition of woman, you will give me $20.
Yes.
Great. Hold on. I have to restart the recording so I can pull up the tape. Dude, there's no way. Up on stream is Jack. All right, give me a second. Can you hear this? Are synonymous terms, and that I'm being redundant by saying trans woman or woman. I don't think you hear this, Jack.
Are you playing it on the stream, or are you going to play through?
Jack, can you let me know your age and pronouns, please?
No, I don't hear it. Yeah,
Okay.
31 and pronouns, he, him.
Can you hear that now? Okay, now, Jack, do you know what redundant means? Jack, can you hear that now?
Hold on, I gotta close the stream. All right, play it again. Yeah, neither no longer needed or useful.
No, redundant means repetitive.
Superfluous.
No, it means repetitive. Can you hear that? Can you hear that?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll play it for the stream. Look at the stream chat, and if stream chat says you did say it, then
pause.
We'll go from there.
Pause.
Okay, let me pull up. I want to give me a because it's opening in VLC. Don't open in VLC, stupid. I can't fucking control my VLC right now. Close. Let me open you in media player. Up on stream is Jack. Now Jack said, fortunately, that has
subjective system. Bye. No,
definitions have changed for words. It was before the definition conversation. How definitions work. Nations by nation. A joke.
The definition of woman.
Oh, what's this? How would that be redundant? If
because
I'm not talking about biology.
So what is the definition of woman?
Boom! There you go, Jack. At 1:42, you asked me a definition of woman.
You're delayed.
Okay, at 1:42, you asked me for a definition of woman. At 1:42, and then I gave you the exact definition I just gave.
What is the definition of woman?
An adult human whose gender identity aligns with their schema on the female sex. Boom! Please super chat me $20.
But you didn't play the clip of you saying it.
I just did.
What?
I just did.
You just played the clip of me asking
I just
for the definition.
I just did. I'll do it again. Here we go. 137. Redundant. Here we go.
Because I'm talking about biology. So what is the definition of woman?
An adult human.
What is the definition of woman?
An adult human whose gender identity aligns with their schema on the female sex. Boom. That was at 1:48. Now please pay up. That was 1 minute and 48 seconds into our conversation. I gave you the definition of woman. I don't
understand. I don't understand where I'm supposed to be. I don't hear this on your stream, and I don't hear
everybody on the stream is listening to it, Jack. Literally all of them.
I can't.
All of them are in the chat right now.
I'll give you the money.
Just go back to the call when I post the stream, and you'll get the proof.
Hang on. All right, I said that shit. $20 coming at you.
Phenomenal. Thank you for not weaseling out of the bet.
All right. So let's get back to the shit.
As soon as that $20 comes through the super chat, there it goes, Jack. Beautiful. Okay. Back to it. Definitions are descriptive. My definition is more comprehensive than yours. Your definition would leave out millions of people who are considered female. Because you're going to now have to define female, and I don't know that you're going to be able to give a comprehensive definition of female that has a necessary condition relevant enough for someone to be a woman. There are plenty of women who don't have XX chromosomes. So what are they?
What's a woman that? No, wait. You asked for the definition of female, not women.
Yes.
I think you just.
But you said all women are female. So what is a female would be someone with XX chromosomes, which means there are people who are, first of all, there are females who don't have XX chromosomes. We have that here. Here's a study. I'll actually put it on the screen for chat to see so they can actually see it. Here's a study, which is, oops, that is not what I want you guys to see. Hold on. That was my wrong screen. Where is my source screen?
Swyer syndrome have an XY chromosome makeup as boys normally do.
Females can have.
Despite having the XY chromosomal makeup, girls with Swyer syndrome look female and have functional female genitalia and structures, including. Okay. Okay. All right. So then you would just have to expand the definition. So XX chromosome, vagina. What's the
Okay, some females don't have a vagina.
Oh my God.
What is the necessary condition to be female, Jack? Hold on, Jack. Let's just start from the beginning really quickly. This will be very quick, I promise. We are both making category distinctions.
Well, hang on,
Jack. Hold on, Jack.
Let me walk that.
Jack, hold on, just 1 second. We're both making category distinctions here. We're saying there is a category called woman, and that category is exclusionary. There are some people who are not women. So what is the trait or traits? What are the necessary conditions that you must possess to be woman? Now you say it's being female. So now you said it's another category. So in order to be the category of woman, you have to be in the category of female. So now you have to tell me what the necessary condition to be female is. What is the necessary condition to be female?
The all-encompassing, everything must be that to be female.
It can be multiple things, but they all have to be necessary. But in order to be an exclusionary category, a necessary condition must exist. Like it has to exist for a category to be exclusionary. So that's what I'm asking. What is that thing?
I mean, XX chromosome, presence of a vagina, maybe. I mean, there's still but there's always birth defects.
That's what I'm saying.
What's the percentage of people that have Swyer syndrome?
Wait, necessary conditions, Jack, can have 0 exceptions. There can't even be one, because as soon as you have an exception, this condition was never necessary, or this trait was never necessary, right? Now, my definition, talking about a gender identity that aligns with your schema, there are 0 exceptions here. Nobody whose gender identity does not align with their schema on female is a woman. Nobody who doesn't have that, it doesn't happen, right? Yours is a biological trait, and so that biological trait must be complete. Humans, when we're talking about the way humans develop sexually, are too varied to place a necessary condition on some biological trait, because one doesn't exist.
Okay, all right. So we'll just go off of the standard definition of female. So, of or denoting the sex that can bear offspring or produce eggs, distinguished biologically by the production of gametes. Because if you're infertile, you still have XX chromosomes.
But see, this is different. So you're giving a definition. I actually agree with that definition on female, right? That's though telling us what is typical. It's not giving us a necessary condition. It's not giving that category separator,
exactly.
Which is what I'm asking you for, is the category separator. How do we know someone who is a female and not a male? Now, I would argue, because the way we do it in science is we do it via cluster categorization or familial categorization. It's not about separating you from male based on one specific trait. It's that here are a litany of traits that you may or may not possess, and if you have these things, you can fit into the category. But cluster categorization is not exclusionary. It can't be, because it doesn't tell you what trait you must possess.
Walk that back for me. So say that different.
Yeah.
There's too many things said at once.
I have a whole video. I have a whole video that you might want to look at that explains this way better than I am right now, because I was actually able to write it down and blah, blah, blah. But think of a game, right? Think of a game, for instance. If I say, what is a game? What is the necessary condition of a game? There is none. There is not one trait that every single game possesses. But there are common things that games tend to overlap on. So we classify these with what's called cluster or familial categorization. The game thing is specifically from, I think his name is Victor Wittgenstein is who came up with the game analogy. But then if I think of something like, what is a square? There are necessary things that you have to possess to be a square. A square has to have, I think it's 4 of them. It has to have 4 sides of equal lengths, 4 right angles. There's a couple more, but I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But there are specific 100% necessary things to fit into the category of square. But most things in biologically, we almost never use necessary conditions to categorize. It's almost always cluster categorization. We use that to determine species. We use it to determine sex. We use it to determine genus and stuff like that. It's almost never necessary conditions. But when you tell me that that in order to be a woman, you have to meet some biological category of female, and you're saying it's exclusionary based on this biological thing, that means there has to be a trait. A trait has to exist because you're classifying woman based off of a biological thing like that. So if you can't provide that necessary condition, or there isn't there, which I'm not saying you can't because you're not smart enough. I'm saying you can't because one does not exist. There is not one specific biological trait that all females possess. It doesn't exist. I've looked for it over and over again.
Okay, all right. Can I walk you down like a little thought train?
Sure.
So female. So the definition of So if you had an archaeologist, you know what I mean, dig up bones.
Yep.
They can determine if that person was male or female, and they can do it off of hip size. But they could also check the DNA if the sample was new enough. Right, so XX chromosome and XXY or an XY chromosome at birth, or in conception, that is what determines if you're going to be male or female, mostly. So you're breaking that off by saying, hang on. So you're breaking that off by saying that people with Swyer syndrome, that is the exception to the rule. Now, is there any other exception to the rule? One that isn't a disease or a syndrome or something that is not a disease wrong with that person?
I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with it. So here's the problem. You're placing some sort of it's almost like you're doing like a creationist argument within this. Like you're saying that I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with this person. They just don't have typical development. They don't have development, which what we typically see, but that's just how nature works, right? Nature doesn't place any correctness on how how people have to develop, right? We don't develop the same way people developed hundreds of years ago. We don't go along the same developmental pathways like the first set of humans did, right? There is development changes. We have millions of gene mutations and variances and modifiers. So like it's impossible to say how something must, right? I don't use normative language like we have to develop in some way. But when it comes to the creation of what is a man and or what is male and female, when we look at how male traits and female traits typically develop, it's not even about the Y chromosome. It's about the SRY gene. There's a gene, it's the SRY gene, that attaches itself typically to the Y chromosome. And that's where we see typical male development, but it can attach itself to the X chromosome. So there are females who have two XX chromosomes, but they had an activated SRY gene on their second X chromosome and then develop male sexual phenotypic traits. Right? So it's just, again, it's just way too...
Yeah, but that sounds like a genetic anomaly.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you're making a necessary
condition.
What I mean?
That doesn't sound like if you went back to the development of the Homo sapien as a species, like that doesn't sound like that was an inherent trait that helped us survive or killed off species. That is just that is like having somebody with two different eye colors or somebody. That is just a genetic hiccup.
But Jack, it doesn't matter.
It can happen. But a lot of different things can happen.
But Jack, a necessary condition can have zero exceptions. Whether those exceptions are biological anomalies or not, they can have zero. You can't have you can't have a necessary if you allow unnecessary things into the category. An example I like to give is think of a road.
What is a human?
Yes, I don't think the way we classify species is through cluster categorization and shared ancestry. It's not through one specific biological trait. I mean, I can call Forrest. He's an evolutionary. He literally studies evolutionary biology, and I can have him explain this a lot smarter than I can, right? I'm not an evolutionary biologist.
You don't need to appeal to authority.
It's not an appeal to authority.
You don't need to appeal to authority. This is just a conversation.
It's not an appeal to authority. I'm not saying Forrest is correct because I'm just saying he can explain it better because he studies evolutionary biology. Like I'm still walking you through the same concepts. I have a limited vocabulary on it because I didn't study this on like a collegiate level. All I'm explaining to you is that an example I like to use is think if I owned a road, like this 4-mile stretch of road is owned by me. And I say, in order to drive on this road, it is necessary. You have to have a red car. You cannot drive on this road without a red car. But I let in blue cars, and I let in millions of yellow cars, and I let in millions of orange cars. Well, clearly, it's not actually necessary that you drive a red car to be on this road, right? So this is all I'm talking about when we say when we try to split something via some level of biological essentialism, it falls apart under logical scrutiny because you cannot have one specific biological trait that excludes someone from the category. Instead, when the category is built on identity, which gender is an internal identity concept. Instead, what we do is we build the category, we place the necessary condition on some sort of identity concept, which I would say is your internal critique of the self or your gender identity. So we define identity with identity, which I think is a much more concrete way to do it.
You're kind of using the definition within itself.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, all right. So my
I
whole
can explain my definition if you want.
So the whole point that I wanted to bring to the table with this is that the trans community has a fucking uphill battle by trying to play word salad definitions and change definitions. If you told me that a trans woman is feminine, then that's fine. That's a way better categorization for a trans woman. Why do we need to? Too many people are, and there's too many definitions of woman and too much interpretation for the definition of woman. It's fucking pointless. It's redundant.
Jack.
Why fight a massive battle of being like, hey, trans women are women, when there's so many people that can fight the other side and say, no, where's the XX chromosome? Like, where, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like, if they dug your corpse up in 100 years, they would see that you were female. Like,
wait, I can
you understand what I'm saying?
I can explain this to you. And first of all, just fun fact: archaeologists get the bones thing wrong all the time. They have made corrections where they've gone, hey, we said that this person was female based on their bone structure, but we actually realized they were male. They've done this all the time. And most archaeologists will tell you, it's no, but I'm saying, but again, that's just saying that the way you become female is to have a female bone structure, but there are some females born who don't have traditional female bone structures, right? What I'm trying to explain to you is just because a concept is complex doesn't mean it's not accurate, right? It was really complex to people at the time when we started to explain to them that the Earth was not the center of the universe and that we actually revolved around the sun. That was a really fucking complex concept for people to wrap their brains around, but it doesn't mean it wasn't accurate. And now that we've built upon this through years and years and years of education, it's not complex anymore, right? Stuff might seem complex at the start, but if we give the accurate education to understand that those things from an early age, right? Like if you build your understanding of what schemas are, of what gender identity is, of how human brains categorize, if you build your knowledge of that, it's actually really easy.
You're not educating, you're changing definitions. That's the point that I'm trying to make. It's not like this is a problem of like this is something that has been predetermined for a long time and we're figuring it out now. You're trying to take definitions that people have been using for a long time, that entire languages have been built around the entire concept of men and women, and you're trying to change those all of a sudden.
Here's the issue. I'm not saying that the definition of woman should be an adult human female or my definition. It should be one or the other. I'm saying it can be adult human female and my definition. Words can have multiple definitions. There are some people who, to them, what makes them a woman is just being female. And I think it's fine to keep that definition there for them. But I also think when we look at the way the human brain works, when we look at neuroscience, psychology, sociology, biology, when we look at all of these things and how gender and sex operate and how the human brain and the human body have a fundamental wiring when it comes to gender identity, then I think it makes total sense to expand upon a definition that is not broad enough to fit our modern understanding of the category. I would do this for anything we do.
Yeah, but the definition feminine gets my definition and your definition.
No, because feminine isn't it? There are trans women who are not
having qualities or an appearance traditionally. Having qualities or an appearance traditionally associated with women or girls, okay? Like trans women, they feel validated when they wear the traits of women.
Jack,
that's what feminine is.
There are plenty of trans women who don't inherently act or present femininely, right? Because it's not about the way that you engage in society with how society tells you to. It's about the way your gender identity aligns with what you we have to get into a whole. Can I just give you the video where I actually like walk through all of this? Can I just give you the title of the video and you go look it up?
Yeah.
Because it would just be easier than me explaining it all here. But we have to get into schemas.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I don't know. My definition seems very simple, and it's like if yours needs like this long video. I don't know if it's long enough, but if yours needs like this thing that you can't just that you can't define off the top of your head? It doesn't sound like this is very well defined. It doesn't. You know what I mean?
Jack, I can. I'm just saying I have an easier way to give the information to you. Like I have an entire video that I wrote a script out and I made it as easy as possible to understand.
You had to write a script for it. You had to sit down and like what's wrong with just saying that trans women are feminine? I don't understand like why that's an argument.
Jack, we've had to explain it like this when we talk about adult human female. The only reason you don't have to is because we've used that definition for so long that people just naturally knows what it means. But when people first started defining woman in this way, nobody knew what the fuck that meant because we didn't know what female was. We used the word woman before we knew what male and female as species were. We used the word woman. It existed before we understood karyotyping and chromosomes and all of these other things. All of that needed to be understood first. It's just that you have a fundamental building block for all of these other things. And you don't have a fundamental building block for what I'm talking about because you haven't studied sociology and psychology.
What you're saying is that the term woman doesn't, but aren't you saying that the term woman has no root in biological nature? That it's all subjective to social
gender
and psychological norms?
Gender is a neurosocial concept. It exists both in our brains and in society, right? When I say that gender doesn't have root in a biological trait, I just mean it doesn't have root in a sexual trait. There is no sexual trait of development that gender is rooted in, but it is rooted in the way our brains just work and the way that our brains inherently classify information and classify ourselves. Gender is a neurosocial thing. Gender is part of our neurobiology. Like half the definitions I use in terms I use come straight out of a neurological textbook.
But at that point, it just sounds like woman is just defined by anything.
No, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, what's the point in having a definition?
Okay.
What's the point in trans women even needing to have a definition if the definition itself is so ambiguous?
Okay, I can analogize it this way. Think of the term love. We have a definition for what love is, right? But what makes you love someone or like your version of love or if you love is subjective to the individual, right? We have a common understanding. Like if I told you I love someone, you know what I mean, but the way me and you might have that feeling is grossly different. I view gender and like woman in the same way, right? When we talk about what is a woman, right, we can have a common definition of woman, which would be the definition at least the definition I use, I believe is a really good common definition of woman, but how a person engages, how a person's gender identity aligns with what their schema is going to be subjective to that individual, right? It's the same with friend, it's the same with emotions, it's the same with most things that are internal, like gender. They're internal, so it's hard to set an external classification on an internal sense of self.
Yeah, but it sounds like so I could say that I love you, and you would have a general idea of what I'm talking about. And you could say it back to me, and I would have a general idea of what you're talking about. But in your case, if you say that you're a woman, by your definition, I can not have any possible idea of what the hell you're talking about.
I disagree, but we've
it
been
all
going
depends
for like
on how
40 minutes.
You at that moment define what woman is.
Yeah, Jack. Jack, I just
you know what I mean? Like I can understand that there's like.
Jack,
But come on, you have to explain like why you disagree with me.
I've literally been explaining to you why I disagree. This whole conversation has been me explaining to you why I disagree.
You're not.
Multiple times I have.
Come on.
I've explained why I disagree multiple times,
okay.
Jack.
But it's not
Jack,
making sense.
I'll make this very easy, Jack. Human beings, we have this thing in our brains called schemas. Schemas are subconscious ways that our brains classify information. They exist in every brain of every human. You have no control over schemas.
Pattern recognition.
Essentially, it's just how our brains work and how we relay ourselves in relation to literally anything in the world goes back to our schemas. If I tell you, Jack, go get me a spoon, the only reason you can go and pick up a spoon is because your brain has subconsciously built a schema around what spoons are. So when our brains build these schemas around gender categories, woman or man, typically what they're doing is they're looking at what is typical in a society around female or around male, what like you specifically as an individual see around these two things. Now, based on whether you align with what your brain schema is on males and females, that is what I'm going to use to determine whether you're a man or a woman. So if your gender identity, if your perception, your brain's subconscious something you have no control over, again, your brain's subconscious perception of its sex aligns with that subconscious schema around female, you're a woman. And vice versa for man. And then separate of both of those, if you're like non-binary, your brain wouldn't align with either of those two things. Okay? This is what I would say is a very good way, albeit it is a little complicated. I don't deny this, but this is a good way to determine gender categories more than just saying saying all women are female, because we know that that's not true. Or we know that like it's not true based on how you're defining female.
And that's fine. But so then here's a very practical experiment that we can do. You know, like if you had to draw a woman, like because we're talking about categorization, right? And categorization requires quantifiable traits. So what are we quantifying woman? How can I? You know what I mean? Like, okay, if there's 10 traits of a woman, if you had 10 traits of a woman, and not everybody has all 10, you know what I mean? But like, what's the top 8 that has to have?
But all you're
to be
doing
a woman?
When you ask me to draw a woman, all you're asking me is what is my schema on women? How has my brain categorized women throughout my whole life?
No, I'm saying that we need to be able to, if we're going to categorize something, we need to be able to quantify it.
That's why we use cluster.
You know what I mean? Like
that's
if
why
you're going to apply an
that's why we use
adjective to
cluster
somebody.
categorization. But again, cluster categorization is not exclusionary. If I were to draw a woman, I would just go like we can look at this. When I started to draw, and I was using stick figures, in order to differentiate a man from a woman, I would give longer hair to one and put it in a dress. That was it. That was all. I wouldn't even do boobies. It would be look at men and women on.
How would you do it today?
Probably the same way I can.
How would you do it today?
Probably the same way I can't.
Do it. I'll donate. I'll super chat you another $20 if you draw it on the stream right now. If you end this thing and talk, I'll drop you $20. Come on, man, let's go.
It would be a stick figure with a dress and long hair. That's what I would draw. But again, this is just saying it's the same as if you asked me, Jovan, think of a woman. I would never think of chromosomes. I may think of breasts, but like that's not specific to women.
No,
if you were to say, Jovan, think of a fat dude, I'd probably think of breasts too. I mean, I got boobies. They're not big, but I got boobies. I would think of long hair typically just because that's what we see as typical of women. I might think of softer features because that's what we typically think of as women. I might think of like shorter in stature because that's what we typically see of women. But this isn't doing anything. But Jack, unfortunately, Jack, hold on, Jack.
It's an adjective.
Jack, we have to move. I have to move on because, like, we've been talking for almost 40 minutes, if not more at this point. It's actually more. It's almost like 50 minutes. So I have to move on.
All right. No problem.
All right.
No problem.
Shout out to the people in chat. Sorry that it took so long to pay a boo. I just felt like Jack was fucking right there, dude, but he just couldn't get past it. I felt like he was right fucking there, dude. I don't deny that. I actually take back complex. I don't think my definition is complex. I just think it requires more building blocks. If I have no fucking clue what a female is because I didn't take biology, and you say a woman is an adult female, I wouldn't know what the fuck you're saying. I'd be like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. What is a female? I don't know. Like, right? It just requires a different level of building blocks. I think Jack should call in again after watching my video on schemas and stuff. And just because something requires like more thought does not mean that it's like inherently what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's inherently worse definition or something. Okay. That's it for calls today. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to do our super chats and then we are going to that's going to be the end of the show because I have things to do on this Wednesday evening, including recording the Q&A video is what I have to do tonight. I have to record the Q&A video and I have to record the comment response video to the first Professor Jovan video. So we are gonna do our super chats just to throw them up on screen. I just gotta get all of them. I really need to give Jess or someone the ability to pull the super chats onto screen, or like to mark them so I don't have to like try to go back and catch all the super chats. Oops. I'm trying to get all of these, dude. There was a bunch that I missed, so I'm so sorry. And I know people paid to boot, and I was just so into it that I didn't even notice, so I do apologize for that last one, how much I didn't see in the chat. My apologies to everybody. That's why as soon as I noticed it, I was like, okay, we need to end the conversation. God, I missed so many super chats. I'm so sorry, guys. Fuck. Okay, I think I got them all. Let's read our super chats now, live here on screen. On stream. Shit. Oh, shit. Oh, here we go. Okay. We're going to start from the beginning of when we got super chats today and read through them all. First of all, from Fats McGee said, my wife is a professional vocalist and a Berkeley grad. She saw your singing video and said you're awesome. Classic Disney vibes. Oh, shit. Thank you. Say thank you to your wife for me. Thank you for the super chat. From Double A said, Taylor has run this same horse shit with Forrest. Oh, deadass? Fuck, dude. Taylor annoyed the shit out of me. From Comic Writer 2020, why is he being shitty about you not wanting kids? That was just weird, dude. Yeah, that one was a little odd, not gonna lie. Like, what the fuck? Why do I need kids, dude? Like, what the fuck? From Vampy said, don't worry, Taylor, you'll be lonely even if you do have kids. God damn. Vampy, holy shit. Sapphic said OED has 12 fucking definitions for a woman. Taylor's just picking one he likes. They tend to do that. Joshua Everett. Joshua said Taylor would starve 1,000 people to death before he thinks one of them might not deserve food. The right turns young white men into sociopaths. God damn. Rory says, I want just one of these guys to square the circle of I hate homeless people and I want a society that produces more homeless people. Square the circle, baby. Thank you for the super chat, friend. Soloing your verse said Greg S. believes he should be allowed to casually lie about pronouns and still have them respected. Ain't it odd? Oh, shit. Like Glyph, thank you for the super chat. Like Glyph, thank you for the super chat, said the cognitive dissonance is insane, dog. True. Soloing your verse also said reading comprehensive challenge level impossible. True. And then we got 20 from Jack because he was wrong about the bet. Then Forrest also said, why are conservatives so obsessed with defining women? I don't know, dude. I don't know. Jack also sent 20 to say, draw the woman. I'm not going to, but I'll take your money anyway. And then Coffee Mom said, child psych lecture I'm watching right now. Who is more at risk for maltreatment? Pre-K children, disabled children, LGBTQ youth. Why people like Jack? Oh, why? Because of people like Jack. Okay, yeah, I got you there. Thank you for the super chats, everybody. Thank you so much for the super chats. Do I need to say anything about Venmos? Yeah, I do. Alyssa, thank you. Say, can we preemptively boot this caller? I didn't see that. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Don't hate me. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching stream today. It was a good one. It was real. It was fun. It was real fun. All streams, by the way, on YouTube now are going to go live 7 days, so like a week after I had them. So you'll see them like plop up, and it's going to be the full Twitch stream pops up for all of you guys. So you're gonna see that. You missed mine. Oh, did I miss yours, Balthazar? Oh, yes, I did. And here I thought De La Chapelle syndrome was when you wrecked your multi-decade career over crashing out over trans people. That's crazy. Thank you, friend. Okay. That's it for stream today. I had fun. It's been real. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. If anybody wants to follow me and do all that fun stuff, please do. It all helps. Follows, super chats, the like. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys later. Later being the operative term. Hold on, I need to fix this really quickly. So that way it actually goes to 33. So that way it actually goes to the right thing really quickly. Okay. See ya. Bye.